So another topic on here that I saw got a lot of conversation on one of the boards was about behavioral therapy and family
Oh,
counseling.
okay.
If, it seems like a lot of these younger families, when we're talking to like the mid-20s couples who already have their life plan, met in college, regular whirlwind romance type thing, already have children a lot of the times. Do you think, looking back, does anybody wish they would have gone to, some kind of counseling or sought like professional guidance in how to navigate this new lifestyle essentially?
I
Toaster,
wish
go
there
ahead.
would have been a better
Oh, okay.
system for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had
Oh,
known, I'm sorry guys, but I would have done it sooner. I didn't realize I didn't realize everything that was going on, not just with my seizures, but how PTSD just from our seizures. Some of us have that going on. And, anything like that can really make things worse. And it did. It was making it worse. But I think for families, I think about our new friend Saya, she's a young mom going through this back and forth. And it's really hard for them to accept what's going on, even though they know it's serious. It's like, how are we going to manage this? Well, you can't think about that until you take care of yourself. So you know where you're going from. Like Tom says, you got to have that foundation first. But having a therapist, especially trauma therapy, for me, is what helped me because I didn't look at that as trauma. And the psychiatrist that I talked to, she was like, I don't know why you wouldn't. Just listening to the story is traumatizing. So yeah, and it was the best thing for me. Therapy is it's a great tool. It was for me. So I would highly encourage it. I'm one of those, well, you guys see me in there. And I'm still in both of our epilepsy subreddits. So haven't been kicked out yet. Yeah.
I'm officially banned from two, but your parents when they're getting old, I gotta start doing Uber Eats and adding credit cards to accounts and stuff. So I'll be here, but I gotta add cards to accounts and buy food from Popeyes, and I'm here.
When it comes to therapy, personally, I guess again, I was lucky or unlucky if you call it. Um, when I was a teenager, I was diagnosed with insomnia with something called, and actually, you guys might know what it feels like because honestly, seizures feel like them. Has anyone ever heard of shoot, now I can't remember the term. Um, your body is asleep. You can't move, but your head is awake. You are aware of everything, but your body will not move. Sleep paralysis. There we go. Now I
Yeah,
remember the name.
Tom's paralysis, sleep paralysis. Yeah.
Oh, okay. He has it too. Well, at least I'm not the only one. I was diagnosed with that when I was 15. And my mom, being the child psychologist that she is, got me counseling. That and of course a few other things that went on during my teenage years. And I also had PTSD, and I had what was, or at least we have no clue, but at the time, diagnosed as panic attacks. Looking back, my neurologist is quite sure that they were seizures. And I was, and I'm here thinking that my seizures started. Well, I'm not here, but I've always considered the start of my seizures to be when I was pregnant. And then someone brought up, I think it was yesterday or the other day, how compounding issues um trauma in the past compounding the epilepsy now. And it's like, that might have something to do with it. The puzzle pieces fit, as she said, or something close to that, or they said.
Yeah, yeah. I I I'm not sure where you saw that, but I'm one that says the same things because it's like a shingling effect. You know, you can only put so many layers of shingles before the roof is going to cave in. And I'm looking back and I'm blessed that I had contact with some of the best epileptologists, you know, and not realizing how valuable they were to me until now. But the study that we did at Mid-Atlantic Epilepsy and Sleep Center, that's where we found out, oh, your seizures did not start in 2007. They started in 1968
Because of the scarring in your head? Did it
because
leave
of
scarring?
medical records that they
Oh,
were able to get to.
oh, I remember
So
this.
yeah,
Yes. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
And
Okay.
it's like I didn't know that the
You
school
had it as
nurse
a
records
teenager.
go into your permanent medical records that are literally locked up in, you know, and you know, they just keep them in a central record. Sorry, the dog.
I have them too.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna have to mute. But yeah, that's how we found out was the researcher looked back into my school nurse, my doctor, our family doctor in 1968. I had a seizure right there in his office. So it's like, yeah, you know, they go right back in all those records and they can find it. It's costly. I had to sign over the ownership but it was worth it.
Right.
You know, and telling the doctors now, hey, we have this, and the basic notes, that the notes that are important to my treatment are there. But
Yes.
because they can't read the whole thing, we want to know everything. Well, you can't, and you got to take my word for it, you know. But that was the most fascinating thing I did was it's like, oh yeah, I didn't know. Now I know that funky feeling, and we remember that. And like Nate was saying last week, what can happen is those seizures that we don't always feel, like that memory that I had, which is kind of like a PTSD flashback, where you just kind of, sorry, I think she calmed down. My daughter's associate locked herself out of the office. Oh shit. Sorry. Oh, I gotta breathe. So, anyways, but yeah, you know, I remembered those feelings, and with, you know, with the therapist that I worked with a trauma therapist. Um, you know, she gave me the tools I needed to get a little bit past that emotion, past that fear, and say, wait a minute, I recognize this feeling as something else. And that's how I was able to start to separate what they were calling as psychogenic from my actual focal seizures. But what I was saying was how Nate had said those pathways get burned in. And, you know, reconsidering a VNS just for that, to let those pathways heal, you know? But yeah.
Um, well, to go to the therapy thing again, you mentioned PNES. Um, so 30% of epileptics have PNES. So do not be surprised if other, yes, you know. And if you've if we've chatted before, you know that I talk to my neurologist all the time. She's from Duke, Dr. Parikh, and Dr. Parikh has been very forthcoming to me when I got diagnosed with PNES on top of my epilepsy. They found both.
Right.
I had both types of seizures in the hospital. And she said that the best help, not cure, but help for PNES is cognitive behavioral therapy. Big name, scary, but it helps. And it also, it's not a cure-all, as some neurologists will try to push it off as.
Hmm.
But because it's a process that you keep having to go back into, and I think, and um, this whole group actually helps with this. Um, that going to therapy, it helps me stay positive during everything else. You guys being my outlet, uh, my therapist, which, oh, by the way, her son has epilepsy. So I actually do know someone with epilepsy. Well, I know someone who knows someone. I have never actually met her son. Um,
That's awesome. And
yes,
I agree. This has been the best therapy, the best.
yes.
And
She
yeah,
has approved of me being on here very much.
yeah. The thing with cognitive behavioral therapy, like you said, Toaster, they'll say it's something you have to continually revisit. And I prefer to say, instead of putting it that way, um, I look at it as it was a definite lifestyle change for my mindset. That's why I don't even know the rules yet. I posted a YouTube video with Mel Robbins, and she has one of the best coaches that has ever lived give talk about his book and talk about his mindset coaching. And because my daughter is a professional personal trainer, um, that's part of her training is the mindset. That's what helped me. That is what got me out of, yeah, a lot of the crap. But we still see, we know what's going on. I mean, we can't deny it, but excuse me. But if you see that, um, definitely take the time to watch that if you can. Self-help, mindset, cognitive behavioral therapy is literally a mindset. It's like, wait, I'm feeling this and that feeling is controlling me. I need to have control over that feeling. So I have to recognize where it's coming from. So the first thing I had to learn was that, wait a minute, wait a minute, everything's okay. Because I was going into panic attacks, especially between like clusters. And I had another one Sunday, and it was so bad. And y'all know when I say this, we don't want anybody to know because we absolutely love this woman now. My daughter couldn't leave me, and we were out of Nasalem. I told my doctor this was going to happen. Been telling them for 3, 4 months now. The pharmacist drove the Nasalem to my house. Yeah. So there's love out there, guys. And that's the mindset. It's like, okay, I had to really shift gears from being just so pissed off to being able to really truly advocate. And Pookie, yep, you shifted the gear. Good morning. There you are. I was worried. You with us, man?
Oh yeah, he was just having some technical trouble.
Okay. But yeah,
But
this
that
this little
pharmacist actually, how did that happen? You called the pharmacy and just explained the situation? Because I mean, if you
the,
knew you had no refills, what even put you in touch with the pharmacist?
whatever my daughter did,
Good
because I was
God.
in and out of some myoclonic clusters. I I subluxed my shoulder, and we were able to get that back in last night. And then I started feeling I get a rebound. I don't know if you guys get that from Nasla. I'll
Yeah,
get a
it's
rebound
terrible.
seizure. And sometimes that rebound seizure is the one that puts me in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, fuck
Yeah.
this. I'm taking 10 milligrams of clobazam.
Yeah.
Took all my
Yeah.
CBD, everything. And I'm like, the only thing I don't want to test positive for is psilocybin. So I left the
Right.
shrooms on the counter. I'm like, okay, no. But yeah, but
Yeah.
that pharmacist. So there is love out there. But
Um,
I knew it was coming. And I'm
that's
glad I don't have
amazing.
as much stress as I did because I have you guys. And
Absolutely.
I
That's that.
actually had to cry to get my medication the other day, and I would have been out of my Dilantin that night. And they knew it, like I told them, and
Mhm.
they were supposed to stay open until 8, but they closed at 6. And when I got there, and because you have to get a ride, right? You can't like demand like take me now, if people are busy. So I'm there, and they're saying no, we're all closed, and I'm like, no, no. And I started crying, and I was like, you can't, I don't want to die tonight. You can't. And they were like, what is it? And I was like, it's my epilepsy medicine. You guys, seriously, I talked to you yesterday. I said you have to get this refilled now, and you managed to do it, but now you got to give it to. And they had to reopen the registers and give me my goddamn medicine. And they recognized my name because I had made it so clear when I
Yeah.
called the first time.
Yeah. And you said, I don't
So
want to die tonight.
I
And
said,
they
I
think
don't want
we're
to die
joking.
tonight.
Congratulations, that is baller.
I was
Yes.
like, I did. I was like, I don't want to die tonight. You can't do this to me. And they were like, come back tomorrow morning. And I was like, I can't. Like,
I
what
won't
if
be
I'm
able to.
gone?
Yeah, they
Sometimes I wish
think
I
we're
had that
kidding.
type of spine.
Yeah. Yeah, they think we're joking when we say that. And I got
No.
arrested at Walgreens. Well, they
Oh my
tried to
God.
arrest me. And I just stood there and the officers, and and I'm standing there and I'm still upset. And I'm like, okay, I have to calm down because I can't race the levels that I have in me right now through faster than it's gonna, I need to
Yeah,
hold
I'm going
on to
to
what I
end up
got.
having a seizure right now.
And this guy is
I,
looking at me and he's like, what are you talking about? And I started explaining to him and he's like turning white. And I said, I'm going to let you help me or not. If you don't help me, I will call the DEA. And they're right downtown, they're 5 minutes away. And I will have somebody come here and get this medication for me. It is day 32. You're coming into this conversation, they're only giving you their side. I just
Yeah.
gave you mine. And this cop, I'm not kidding, he was like 6'4". I'm not even 5 foot tall. He was so white, I thought I was going to have to catch him. And he's like, hold on, ma'am. And you hear his hand go down on the counter. All right, who do I got to talk to back here? And that was it. And it's like I wasn't being nasty, I wasn't threatening anyone, and they wanted to take me in on a 5150.
Mhm.
See, they could have tried that on me maybe, but I was like,
FAFO.
I just started crying, and I was like, I don't want to die tonight. You can't do this to me. I told y'all how important this is. And they were like, wait a minute, what's your
Wait a
name?
minute. Mm-hmm.
I've been arrested during a seizure before.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Yes. I've
Sister. Yep.
yes. This was when I was attempting to go to school. You know, get something of myself. Yeah. And I was arrested. My partner at the time, she did not take kindly to having me in handcuffs while I am still seizing and kicking at them. So, yeah, that was fun. My dad works for a university here in Charlotte who has ties to the community college that I went to. Needless to say, everything was fixed. Yes.
Yeah.
may not have a spine, but my dad surely does.
Yeah, my spine may be a little crooked, but it still runs straight. I don't I am the FAFO patient. So, and I don't mean to be nasty or harsh, but I get it. It's like I woke up arrested and in restraints. And I'm like, seriously, like either one is going to win. I don't give a fuck. You both lost because I dislocated my shoulders. So,
Yes, I dislocated my shoulder and I had a broken ankle at the time because of a different seizure. Yes.
have they called it self-harm yet?
Oh, yes, it did. I was arrested and they did they did not, well, they took me to the jail to start the processing, and that's when my dad came. I was scared to death because this is the first time I had ever been in handcuffs. I was like, my mom is going to kill me. What did I do? I don't remember what happened.
That
And
reminds me. It reminds me of a time I was recently told about it, and it kind of came back piece by piece as I was told about it. He told me that I had had a seizure in Target, so the staff after that were following me around, and I went outside. And as soon as I got out the door, I just turned in the bush right in front of the door and started peeing. The cops were already there by then, and the ambulance. So I just dropped my pants to my ankles, and then my uncle's like, "He's having a seizure, guys. He's having a seizure." And the ambulance are there, so they just like watched me pee, and I was like, I could have went to jail if my uncle wasn't here to tell him I was having a seizure at the time. But yeah,
public indecency, but you know what? That's funny as hell. At least you didn't piss yourself.
right.
Because I had that going with me too.
Oh yeah, been there, done that. Yeah, the whole mess.
Yeah.
Been there. Yeah. Yeah. And this is the thing with awareness too. We can get into a lot of trouble just over a biased misunderstanding like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally got physically injured, and they're putting off repairing that injury for it was 2 years now. Like it's been 2 years. It was May 27th in 2023. So, I know what's going on. I have 6 months left to file a malpractice claim. So they know the time is out. I'm not doing it. But that's what happened. It's like I woke up in restraints and cuffs, and I knew I had a
Oh man.
seizure. And I'm like, oh God, my shoulder. Oh my God, I can't move. And oh no, no, we don't know anything about that. And then that that time outside the emergency room, you're not seizing, ma'am. And they had to give me new
I
clothes
gotta
twice.
go. Bye.
Bye. Okay,
I'm
toaster.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry,
Son
we
just came
might be
home from
here.
Taekwondo.
Check in.
I love you
Bye.
all.
Love you
Bye.
guys. Love you, hon.
Bye, toaster.
But yeah, oh my God, the stories we have. It's just this is the thing. It's like, come on, people. And we didn't know. My daughter and I didn't know that um that so many of these things are regulated by either, whether they're in an epilepsy center or there are like Kate, you probably could help me even more, but I can't right now. But yeah, that these doctors are required to maintain certain professional practices and they're not doing it. But as far as like public and first responders, they don't recognize some of these seizures, and that's a scary thing. We end up cuffed and arrested, and, you know, thank goodness for some people to get it. But yeah, you were just talking about how somebody, Pookie, when they'll tell you, like, oh, this is what you did and how it starts coming back to you. Does anybody else have that happen and then have people say, see, it couldn't have been an epileptic seizure if you remember saying that?
Hmm. Yeah, I've been told I didn't have a seizure, and I'm like, how do you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember this. So what do you think? Like, I don't want to pretend I had a seizure and give you this story like I'm getting out of something.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, we just went through that Sunday. It's like, well, how do you know she's having a seizure? And my daughter was timing it and she sent a video to the pharmacist. And it was like, yo, if this doesn't work, she has to go to the hospital. And Natalie, because I just had that Wednesday. So we're looking Wednesday. And then again, Sunday, I had to take clobazam today. And they're still saying, well, we don't believe you're having epileptic seizures. How far are they going to push that, man? But they can get reported. That's where we are now. It's like, oh, I'm not giving up on this fight. I might have to lay down, but I'm not giving up.
But no matter
So,
what, they treat you for that injury. That's admission.
yeah,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can't deny that. There's,
They
like
never
it's
found, yeah,
there is
same.
physical evidence.
And the same thing with the concussion. They never followed up on the concussion. And then I found out that October 2023, I had what was called a hypertensive event, which is also known as a stroke. Okay, it was no obstruction, anything like that, but a hypertensive event is, a lot of that happens with clusters. Your blood pressure just keeps going higher and higher until you do have a brain bleed. It's like, I shouldn't have to be telling these people this. I'm like, okay, let's play. Um, you know, so at least I know for myself, and I'm just ranting. Everything is
No, you're
already,
educating every single one of us.
Just
yeah,
like I shouldn't have to be telling everybody that an aura is a seizure. Why do they not tell everybody
why
that?
aren't
They
they
should
telling
tell
us?
everybody that. It's
Yeah,
important to know.
right, because your
Oof.
seizures really are lasting longer than you think,
Don't
and
ask,
even
don't
on the
tell.
EEG. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's another like blissful ignorance type of point. Back to what we were talking about when a lot of these diagnoses happen in childhood, or the diagnosis happens later in life, and you realize you've been having epilepsy or seizures for longer periods throughout your life.
Mm-hmm.
How many of these cases do you guys think that children when children go into therapy and just get put on some kind of antidepressant, it happens to lower their seizure threshold. So of course, when the hormones start raging and things, or earlier and earlier nowadays, it's like 10 years old, then they'll start actually probably having more obvious tonic-clonics. It just can't be denied.
Mm-hmm.
right. Or they're diagnosed with ADHD and they treat them with Ritalin, and then boom, bada bing, where'd this epilepsy come from? The Ritalin triggered it. It really wasn't ADHD. It was probably focal. Like all my life, I was the one with the bad temper and the bad attitude, and
Right?
they thought that I was having a temper tantrum. And it wasn't until later when stories started coming in, like from cousins, that relatives that were still alive, and I'm like, are you kidding me? How did no, oh, we knew what it was. We didn't know your parents weren't getting you treatment. Oh, I can't be mad at them. But yeah, and it's like, how did we not recognize that? But even when I was a teenager, and then all through my adult life until I was 46 years old. And I was so close to not making it on that one. So yeah, it's just, it's an oversight. And now we're seeing the reverse, where people like me, and this happened to Saya. And hi, Saya, I see you. I see you, Saya. But yeah, we have clinical evidence of epilepsy, and they're telling us we have PNES. Okay, 30% of individuals with epilepsy do have PNES. I know that. I accepted that. But don't say that because I have PNES, we don't have to treat the epilepsy, because that's where you just went wrong. And I didn't know that they had to treat PNES in PWE, people with epilepsy, in order to maintain their accreditation.
And where they really went wrong is doing it that way with you.
Yep.
That's
Right.
where they went wrong.
And this is where I said for 5 years, and it's in my records, she's harsh, she's threatening. She has a statement, please don't make me do it. She's threatening. This is what I was talking about. I'm like, I really have been begging for treatment that they were required to give me in order to maintain their accreditation. So all of that is already set up, regardless of the outcome of that appointment next week, because I'm communicating with the executive director of the National Association for Epilepsy Centers. And I think the reason I started getting triggered again is because she's pissed. And she got emotional. And she's like, I can't do this on the phone. I can't do this on Zoom. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So we're in email.
I mean, it's
Whew.
not like it has to be notarized. Why would you want a third party, a third party to be present on Zoom?
No,
Are
it's
they
not
really
that.
that scared of you?
The
I
the
am.
I do not mean to be intimidating. I'm simply
Too smart?
asking. I'm yeah, there's that.
Ugh.
But I don't have the cognitive ability to understand my condition. And he put that in my records. I piss myself laughing.
I
Um,
bet.
it's but no, I never expected this to go directly to the director. The executive director is the one that can, she's the gavel. Okay, she's the gavel to decide whether they are even an epilepsy center at all. And she said they may be just completely revoked from membership over things like this. And I'm like, yeah, I waited too long, but I don't have to do anything at all. And I'm still giving them a chance next week. Anyway, what I'm saying is that complaint has already been established. And I can't change that because it's already happened. It's not this doctor I'm seeing now. But so when I go in next week, it's like, okay, let's just start all over again and go back to 2016 for me. But I don't mean to be intimidating. I really don't. It's just, don't make me do it. Is that really intimidating? You never know who you are talking to. You never know that that person knows people that truly will help in a way that you didn't expect. And that's why, medical conduct is supposed to be 100% equality. And if nothing else, that accountability for that ethics violation is enough to get these guys suspended. Or wait, what I want to see is the extended required continuing education hours that we can put together for them. And it's like, yeah, you're going to hear from people with epilepsy and how we feel, so that's what I want. It's like, I don't want to see them suspended, or I want to see them do some time on continuing education and listen to us.
An actual neurologist doesn't have to know how to read an EEG.
Correct.
That's a fact. And I'm happy to be not banned from everything on Reddit because one of the groups that I joined is neurologists. And
Yeah.
I just did a search on epilepsy, and some of them were literally complaining about that.
Yeah.
This is not my specialty. I don't think I'm gonna have to, ever see these kinds of patients. I'm literally getting into this for the easy way out. It sounded like a lot of them were literally only passionate about Alzheimer's, or only passionate about, you know, cerebral palsy, or, they only
Yeah.
had one true condition that they wanted to help people with. And that's a shame. They really, really have to get over that, or get them to transfer sooner. So
I
actually requiring those courses is a must. Yeah.
yeah, I hear what you say, but for general neurology, they don't have to know how to read an EEG. And what these guys are talking, people are talking about, is in neurology, you do have to select a specialty, whether it's general neurology, which is where like a neurosurgeon would get their patients, like a general neurologist. If you messed up your shoulder or your neck and you needed to be referred to another level of neurology, that a general neurologist does that. Whereas like an epileptologist, we all know what they do. Or then you have neurosurgeons, then you have those specialties with, Alzheimer's and all of that, the other neurological conditions. But they do have to specialize. Whereas like orthopedic, you don't have to say, I only do hips, I only do elbows. You know what I mean? So neurology is highly specialized because it needs to be. And epileptology is one of those very highly specialized and multidisciplinary, because we also need other neurologists. We need neuropsychologists. We need neurophysiologists, in general neurology. I might need a different type of injection in my shoulder just to get me through to next week. I might need a nerve block in my neck, like today. So, I don't know, but that's a specialized level of neurology that also includes radiology. So there's a lot of different levels. And I know it's like, oh, these guys got to get it. No, they do get it. And they know where to tell you to go, not in a bad way. Um, and I misinterpreted that for a long time too. And I'm not saying I didn't mean it. I don't want it to come out in any negative way, but that's how I felt. It was like, oh, yeah, you don't get it. No, they don't, because that's not their specialty. And they want you to be where you need to be, especially with stuff like this.
Forgot I was on mute and did want to cut you off, Ann. But what's her name? Is her name Emma, or what is her name? The girl from earlier with the shorter haircut?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was Emma
Yeah.
or Jamie Lynn.
She's
Jamie Lynn and Emma
she's
were the two newbies today.
yeah,
I
she's
think.
gonna come back. She I think I wouldn't say she felt bad, but I think she said she hasn't been diagnosed with seizures yet. So she didn't know if she could stay or not. And I told her, yeah, you can stay. You're having seizures still. But she's gonna come back. She didn't know that she thought it was just for people with epilepsy. Uh, but yeah,
So
she's
maybe we
coming
should
back.
rethink the intro. Let's rethink the intro just to ask, do you
Yeah.
have seizures? Are you diagnosed? And
Yeah.
if
Because
so, when was
I
your
also
last? How
put
much are you
parents
taking?
of
Yeah.
I also put parents of children who have epilepsy too. So just
Okay.
like a roundabout thing, but seizures are seizures at this point. A lot of people are being misdiagnosed. She probably is having epilepsy and she hasn't been diagnosed, she said. But she left because she noticed that everyone has epilepsy except her. She'll be
Oh,
Yeah,
back
okay.
though.
I told her that in chat. It's like seizure is a seizure. We're all feeling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and we all know how long did we go with other diagnoses before we got diagnosed with epilepsy. So, it's hard to get to, it was so hard to get to that diagnosis. And I don't get that, you know,
Especially these days. You gotta wait 1 month and 3 days for a neurologist, unless you have one already.
yeah, wow. Out here, which is really sad because an hour away, I can get an appointment in a week. But here you're waiting 8 months after your first evaluation. And people are freaking out because it's like, I don't know what to do. And they're just telling me, wait for your next appointment. And then, oh, well, they're telling me to try to avoid, extensive ER visits. Well, isn't that why we're calling you? You know what I mean? It's like they tell us, if there's any problems, call us. Why? You're not doing anything. But we're getting the lecture from them and from our insurance. You need to cut down on the ER visits. And that's when you talk to your insurance, and I have Medicaid, and it's Blue Cross Blue Shield under Medicaid, and I had to get a case manager. And it was like, oh, that's what's going on. Yeah. So, you got to start somewhere. But
But that's
I,
what's gotten me questioning a lot of the statistics too. I'm seeing those with uncontrolled epilepsy with 1 in 150 dying from SUDEP. But I'm questioning that statistic now because how many people have been already just misdiagnosed with the PNES, never been treated with an AED or something for epilepsy, and then all of a sudden SUDEP takes them. So misdiagnosis is a big problem with why overall treatment isn't better early in life and at whatever stage.
I was just talking to my sister about she watches this show with her kids and we were talking about it yesterday because I finally got to see her after a little while. And she told me that in this show that she and her kids are watching, one of the kids, the actor kids, he died recently at the age of 18 from SUDEP. And she was telling me about it because she thought about me and how long I went untreated and how many times I have already almost died. And like, it's just crazy to me talking on this subject of hospitals and general neurology versus the specialties and stuff like that, because the only neurologist in this area that I live in within a 4 to 5 hour radius is a migraine neurologist. He only specializes in migraines. Anything else, he will not tell you where to go or what to do or what to take. He'll just diagnose you with migraines and give you migraine medication. That's what he did to my sister. And that's the kind of stuff that ends up leading to SUDEP later on in life. Because if you don't know anything about epilepsy or seizures in general, any seizure disorder, you could end up losing your life because you are not being treated properly, first of all. And second of all, you don't know how to take care of yourself, and neither does anyone else around you who's trying to support you. There's just not enough good information.
Was that the Hey
Thanks.
Jesse actor?
Yeah, I
No, it
think
was
so. Cameron Bryce.
Descendants.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the
Oh,
wait,
somebody
oh,
else in Descendants.
Yeah,
yeah, and
Cameron
Descendants.
Bryce.
Oh, was that him? Okay. I didn't know if it
Yeah,
was him or not.
Oh, okay, yeah. Daughter just confirmed that was him.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Saya, the thing that gets me with you and your story is you live in a more rural area of California.
I do.
And this is another goal for the National Association for Epilepsy Centers. I'm learning so much from, yeah, yeah, too much. It's overflowing. But they are also getting different teams together from other epilepsy centers that do what's called in tandem, or there's several terms for doctors who travel.
Mhm.
And I remember Dr. Rovner in East Amherst. You can look him up. He's a wonderful man. Is one of those doctors, and he's been to California, North Dakota, several of our states that have rural areas like yours with people like you that need more specific neurological diagnoses. And that is something that the NAEC has information on.
Well, and I think, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
No, go
cut you
ahead.
off there.
No, I got to get a drink of cotton mouth. That's all.
Okay, no worries. I do agree that that is like a good thing. It's in the right direction. It's just difficult because like I did get a referral for neurology when I first moved up here, and my appointment was scheduled for the end of the year, and I was like, okay, I can't wait that long. And so I called the office and I asked like, why is it going to be this long? They were like, oh, well, he's one of those neurologists who travels. And so he's only here for 2 to 3 months max, and then he leaves. And I was like, oh man, okay. Like it's helpful in a sense, but at the same time, like to have more people who are or experienced in stuff like this, um, in these areas that are permanent and actually do a good job, because the ones that are, you know, in the other direction from where I got mine, my one that I'm using right now, um, they all have terrible reviews. They don't talk to their patients, they don't listen to their patients, they, blah 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 blah. I think honestly, I think California is really just in general not the greatest place for healthcare. But um but oh,
Beg the
I got
differ.
the here, wait. I can start my camera. I don't know. Can you guys see me?
There you
Yeah.
are.
When you
There
said
you
Hi.
are.
California,
Hello, beautiful.
the medical
Hey.
system, I beg to differ. Where
Wait,
you
what
at?
was that?
Where you at?
I'm in California.
Yeah, like where? Because you said the insurance here,
It's Northern California.
like the Bay Area or higher.
Not that far. No, it's like in the desert areas.
Okay, you're probably like towards where my mom is, like Fresno desert area.
Yeah, pretty much on the other side of the mountains though.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Their insurance sucks out there. My mom lives out there
Oh
too.
my
But
God,
when you
dude.
said California as a whole, I'm in California, and the
Yeah.
healthcare out here is amazing. I could go right now and get an MRI at the emergency room. It's I don't know,
I
like
could tell you that insurance meant they put me through a whole world of hell after my first neurology visit with this new guy because they were like, "Oh, we can't do any of these prescriptions." And I was like, "Wait, what? You guys said that you could handle these prescriptions. I told you I was going to be doing this." And they were like, "Oh no, you have to do home delivery." And I was like, "Okay." And then I had to spend a whole month trying to get my Nasalam, even though I haven't even used it, but like just to have it just in case. I had to spend a whole month talking on the phone from like 15 different reps, spending hours doing that. And they still screwed it up to the point where I had to call my neuro's office again for the fourth time. And they were like, "Okay, what is it this time?" And I was like, "Look, I'm sorry, but my insurance wants to have you guys call them again because they lost the information." Like, it is the worst insurance in the world.
Yeah.
okay, again with the medical insurance thing, what medical insurance do you have out there?
We have Anthem out here.
Okay, yeah, my mom
Um,
has Anthem because that's real popular out there. But
Hmm.
you don't have to go to the hospitals out there if you have Anthem. My mom has Anthem, and they have these medical Ubers that'll bring you guys to hospitals out here if you have a doctor out here. She got misdiagnosed so much out there. At those hospitals, they told her diabetes and all kinds of stuff that made her stomach hurt. Come to find out years later, it's lupus, uh, all kinds of stuff. But she comes out here to Stanford, and she's like Visalia, Tulare. It's way past Fresno and stuff,
Oh
deeper in
yeah,
the
I know that
desert.
area. Yeah.
But yeah, if you got Blue Anthem, try to work online and find you a doctor out here. As long as they can agree that you have an appointment, they'll send an Uber. They'll come get you and drive you all the way there. My mom, she leaves at like 2 in the morning to get out here for an appointment at 6, and
Wow.
she said she sleeps the whole ride. 3 hours, like 2 hours and 45 minutes from the Bay Area. Yeah,
Yeah,
your
that actually comes
insurance.
in handy because I got appointments next month and my husband's freaking out about calling out of work that much.
Yeah,
I
try
should try
Stanford.
this. I should
Try
see.
Okay.
Stanford.
I
They'll
should see
bring
if
you
I can get
here.
down to UCSF on an Uber with it.
That'd be,
And these are
yeah.
things they don't tell you. Like a lot of things are like on a don't ask, don't tell. Like a lot of these doctors and insurance stuff, don't ask, don't
Hmm.
tell. But I know my mom does it, so I'm letting you know. If you need more information after that, get in touch with me, and I'll get in touch with her and figure it out. Because, like I said, you guys are in the same area, and once we figure it out, she can come to Stanford from out there. She's been doing that.
Oh, that'd
And
be
just
really
a
nice
heads
then.
up,
No problem.
if you're
Call your
asking your
insurance.
doctor,
Yeah, they just call the doctor and make sure you do have an appointment, and
Hmm.
then they'll come get you, and
Okay.
they'll make sure you know your driver days ahead of time. Like my mom got to meet her driver several times, and it's been the same person.
nice.
Wow.
And they
Yeah,
just
that'd
wait
make it a lot
outside.
safer than Uber, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. I was gonna tell
Yeah.
you too, just give you a heads up. When you're telling your doctor now to give you that referral, if they wanna, get an attitude with you, don't let it happen. Because I've had
Yeah,
that
they
happen
they
before where
they
I
try
just want to
to.
transfer because I want a better doctor, and
Hmm.
they don't want to hear that, but they have to give you a referral. If that's
I've
what you
I've
want,
been through
that's
that
better for your
so many
lifestyle.
times too,
Okay.
like dealing with that nonsense of like, "Oh, we don't want to give you your records." I'm sorry. Legally, you cannot withhold my patient records, dude. Like, are you kidding me? Why even try to put me through that? It's so stupid. But yeah, I have dealt with that, so I know how to handle them at least.
Definitely stand up for yourself. Good. Good. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear. Okay, so lots of the subjects already been covered here. I'm looking at PTE is an acquired form of epilepsy with seizures beginning weeks, months, or years after a traumatic brain injury. PTE accounts for 5% of all epilepsies and develops in up to 50% of those who have a severe TBI, traumatic brain injury. So the ensuing seizures not only slow the recovery from the injury, the TBI, but can worsen in type and frequency. And I think this one came from some kind of veterans chat, somebody who was definitely in war, suffered from a grenade, and that was, eventually resulting in difficulties in thinking, mood, and memory. Like how often I think Pookie's probably the only one that I've heard of right now that had that TBI that progressed to or brought on the seizures. But anybody else with insight or input on that? How an
That's,
injury can lead to epilepsy?
yeah, that's what I have.
Okay.
Mine started in a car accident. I was 1968 in the back of a station wagon. And yeah, we were
1
T-boned.
second, Mom.
So my head took out the windows, and that it was like 6 months later I started having seizures.
So has anybody
And
ever mentioned post-traumatic epilepsy to you as a diagnosis? Post-traumatic epilepsy?
Yes, that's exactly what they
one
told me
second.
I had
Okay.
when I was at Mid-Atlantic in Bethesda.
Okay, so Bethesda really does. Damn, I hate the winters in Maryland. Oh, but they did have better
So
doctors.
1 second, Kate. So see ya. Mom, tell her what to do.
Okay, so you have to call 5 days in advance. But you can you gotta know the phone number and the address to where you're going. Tell them you don't know your doctor's name because you haven't met him yet, or her. And make up a time. If you say you got to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, they'll be to pick you up about 4:30. Yeah, so you got to call. If you call today and make the appointment, so what's today's date? The 2nd?
I have no idea, Mom.
It's the third.
So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you call today, they'll pick you up on the 8th.
Yeah, we just need to figure out how to do it.
5 days in advance.
Send me the information on how to do it. She just has the same insurance you have. She out there where you at. Send me some information on how to do it. That's what she needs.
That's how you do it. You call 5 days in advance.
Yeah, like what number and all that. Mom, I'll text you.
It's on the back of the Anthem card.
Oh.
Transportation.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, just call transportation. It's on the back of the Anthem card. Yeah, and that's all you do. It has to be 5 days in advance. They also have extra benefits. So, yeah, tell her to call. Yeah, just 5 days in advance. Know the address, the phone number, and what time you want to be. What time is your appointment?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. She said.
You doing the podcast?
She said thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You guys have a good day.
All right, Mom. I'll get back to you.
All right, love you, son.
Love you too.
Hey.
Oh, she's so sweet.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, the number's on the back of your Anthem card. There you go.
Okay. I'm gonna take a screenshot of what Kate just said. There we go. Okay, perfect.
Just gotta know the address of the hospital. Tell them
Okay.
you don't know the doctor yet because you haven't met him, and set it all up on yourself. And then next time you do it, you're gonna need the doctor to have the information, and they're gonna call them to actually set it up and all that. But if this is your first time, like she said, just call, tell them you don't know the doctor yet. But yeah, figure it out over the phone, get the appointment set up and all that. You good? Hopefully that
Heck
helps.
yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Happy to help.
Yeah, because we hate it out there. I told her I hate those doctors out there. They just
Okay.
have clinics and they just take you in and just tell you this and then send you home. They told her she was pregnant. She's 52 years old.
Oh my
It was
Lord.
some type of something in her stomach or something. She was crying and all kinds of
She
stuff.
could
And I
have
told
been
her,
pregnant,
Mom,
but it's not likely.
yeah, I told her, if you have a baby, I am not raising a child. I am 30. I was like, we are not doing this. Figure that out.
You know what? If she has a baby, I'll raise it.
Come
got
on,
kids of my
Sailor
own.
Mom. You gotta want the empty nest someday.
I did it. I wanted more kids. I really did.
I
They were
hear you
really-
on that.
They made me.
Yeah, my
They
dad's
made
asking
me.
me to have more kids. My dad wants me to have 10. He said, I have 6. So I told him, I don't really want any, but he keeps saying, you should have more kids. He likes a big family. We both have six
Oh,
Six
kids.
isn't enough, huh?
Yeah, he has six and I have six.
Man, I thought that was a big
He
family
wants
by itself.
he wants more
Well, I have
grandchildren.
5.
He wants 10 grandchildren out of me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't. I hope to have 10 grandchildren, but I'm not crossing my fingers, even though I have 5 kids.
Oh, I'm gonna have 10 grandchildren. I have 6 kids. But yeah,
so
um, call that insurance.
Okay, I will.
Get you to a good hospital. Your hospital sucks. I'm sorry.
We want to move too soon because I found some places in another state that we're thinking about moving to just because you know what, California sucks in general anyways, so
Hey, hey,
it's so
hey.
damn expensive.
Yeah, yeah. The expensive part, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Got you the
well, I mean
information.
that
Check your
that leads
car.
to one of the other pretty busy topics I noticed was, how have your plans changed, especially for, newly diagnosed and whatever stage that you were at in your life, a lot of times making those major decisions. How have your goals, more appropriately, I think would be how have your goals changed since diagnosis? I see nobody's shying away from having a family and raising one.
Yeah, so with mine, I was in high school and I was real self-conscious at first. And like since I had it in my web design class, they thought it was the computer. So I dropped that class and eventually I was just sitting around for my third period. Um, but then like I was real like I was thinking like everybody was watching me because I would walk past crowds and I'd be like, he was in that class, and then him and all his friends looked this direction. So I'm thinking he told them. And after a while, I just got used to it. I was just like, this is gonna happen. I gotta get over it. I gotta not try to attack him for feeling like he's telling everybody and everyone's looking at me. Yeah. It was hard at first, but yeah, like I said, after a few seizures and just I got used to people seeing me get put in an ambulance. I didn't even talk to them afterwards. I'm just like, all right, yeah, you see the ambulance, you know what's going on. So how to cope with it? I was a teen, so I wouldn't know as an adult. I know it can be real depressing. As a teen, I just went about my life. I just like, okay, I have epilepsy after that. Didn't let it stop me. I just had to get used to it.
I'm more
Next.
interested in everybody's perspective just because I can't remember. I didn't journal then. I didn't keep any hard drives or little, memory cards or anything from the pictures. So I have no idea other than, what anecdotes my mother can tell me basically of like who I was or who I wanted to be.
I'm in
So how
a
about everybody
pretty
else?
I'm in a pretty interesting situation with mine because like I don't really know yet still if I've had this for a longer period of time than I think, or if the surgery that I had led to this, because there's two things on the table. It's either the lack of oxygen that my brain had when I was hemorrhaging 2 days after a laparoscopic surgery that I had, or is that I've had this, for many, many years since I was a child. I had a lot of blackouts, loss of consciousness, things that people couldn't explain, and they always said that it was just panic attacks. But it's kind of back and forth for right now because we're still like in the early stages with this new neurologist. But as far as like the way that my life has changed, I already had my kids. I was married already for, see, it started in 2024. We got married and I got to do math. I'm terrible at it. 2020. So been married for 4 years at that point. And not really much changed except for the way that we had to do things. Suddenly it went from, I was a stay-at-home mom to, just dealing with menstrual health issues, which wasn't nearly as bad as this. Um, to I could no longer drive. I couldn't cook all the time. I couldn't clean all the time. I couldn't do all the things that I used to do all the time. And like I am at this point now more controlled than I used to be. So I did laundry, I cleaned up today, I cooked. But on my bad days, when I still have my bad days, I still have to like let go. I've had to learn to just give up and let other people help me because I was such an independent person for so many years. that it has really affected my mindset, and it put me in depression in the early stages of having it, because I was suddenly not independent anymore at all, and I had to be so dependent upon everyone else around me for everything that I knew. What happened? I had to ask other people. I have to do something. I have to take a shower. I have to go somewhere. I have to ask somebody to help me because I'm still recovering, and it's it's a big change, and it changed the way that we were raising our children as well, because um at first when we were raising them, we wanted to be very, very soft parents. We're very what's the word for that? Like, you don't want to tell your kids about things that they don't need to know about, like talking about death and stuff like that. And after this started happening, they had to be told so many things. They had to be explained so many things. They had so many questions still, even to this day, about so many things. And it's forced us to be different kinds of parents, because now we have to explain to them, what happened to mom and what happened this night where she didn't get to come home, and why she was gone for so many days. And it's changed a lot of aspects in that sense. But as far as like a career, I don't know, Kate, you probably remember what I said earlier on Reddit, maybe, about working in a veterinary hospital for years.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to school for it, and that was my dream job. And I had been working there even through my pregnancies. Sort of gentle parenting, but more so like, sorry, I'm just responding to Sailor Mom, but sort of gentle parenting, but more so like, I don't know, uh, avoidant of bad things, I guess. But back
Prolong
on
the
the deal.
childhood innocence
Yes,
vibe. Yes.
exactly. Yes. But yeah, back to the other point. What was I saying again? Oh
Just
yeah,
how
my
your goals and
schooling.
achievements changed.
Yes. That changed before my seizures became tonic-clonics. And they were very apparent seizures at that point. Um, and that was because I was already dealing with two chronic conditions before this, endometriosis stage 2 and adenomyosis stage 4. And that surgery that I got, that started it all for me. That was to diagnose me for those conditions. So I had already had to leave work. I was already going through the process of, dealing with a chronic issue that affected every aspect of my daily life. So it wasn't such a huge change, but it was still a change in the point of us thinking and being scared of me possibly losing my life, or the lack of oxygen that I've had so many times, and hitting my head so hard so many times, and how it has physically affected my body, whereas before those chronic conditions were mostly invisible.
Yeah, so I wanted to help you again because another thing is my mom didn't say uh, the thing like sometimes I can say I feel like a burden at times, but would help me with this Uber for the medical transportation. If you need to go to a pharmacy, you don't have to ask anyone. Call them; they'll make sure you get to a pharmacy, and you don't have to feel like a burden and ask someone for a ride and all that. I call for a ride. I need to go to this pharmacy, or I need to go to this clinic, or I need to go to both, and then back home. You can do that. Like I feel like you were on a don't ask, don't tell. Like you have this card in your pocket and didn't know what you can do with it.
I had no idea. No, honestly, I really didn't.
Yeah. So
I guess I should
yeah,
have looked at it a little more, but yeah, that would be very helpful, because yeah, I mean, I have family support here. I have my mom, I have my sister, I have my husband, but they all three work full time, and it is hard on the days like for my appointments in, next month, with my neurologist. I have another EEG in office. I have an MRI with contrast, and then I have a follow up after that. And it's like in this weird 2 week span of time next month that's going to be kind of difficult to navigate. And that would be so incredibly helpful because my husband is scared shitless about losing his job because he's already had to call out so many times. My son, he started to have health issues recently too. Different, thankfully, but still just as concerning. And we've been having to get him appointments, and those were like emergency appointments, like I wait with mine, but with his, that was like, yeah, he was peeing blood. So I was like, okay, no, we're going right now. You need to come home. That's it. We need to go right now. And so
Okay,
he
yeah, you can
missed.
call your insurance and they'll get you and him a ride.
Ah, that's smart. See, yeah, I would not have even thought of that possibility, especially being in a small town. Because I mean, I guess I kind of have check still, but
You want tricks
um,
on working the system, talk to Pookie.
oh yeah, that's what
I
I'm
don't do that
noticing.
anymore.
But no, seriously, that would have been so helpful for that. Because man, that was a scary situation. And my husband got in trouble the next day. His boss was like, "They had to cover all your stuff." Like, I'm sorry, man, my son is more important.
Yeah, you don't have to call around, ask for a ride, ask people to leave work, none of that. You
Hey,
got insurance.
maybe he's gonna end up being a union rep for that company.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, like I said, they're just gonna ask you for the little number on your card. I don't know what it's called, a HPSM. Out here, it's called an ID number, basically. They ask you for your little ID number, maybe like 10 or 12 digits or something like that. And
Mm.
yeah, they just ask you for your name after you give them the ID number, make sure you are who you are, your name and your birthday. And then they'd be like, where do you want to go? Do you need a ride back? And then what they will say is, can you let us know, they ask you, is this your only uh, like only transportation you have? You can't be
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, well, my husband's at work or he could take me. You got to be like, yeah, this is my only way of transportation, and there you go. It's all you got to say. They're not going to question you or nothing. The person who answers the phone is probably working from home in another state anyway. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, do that. Because
Okay.
like I said, I felt like I was a burden for a while, and when I found that, I don't even ask nobody. I just be like, "I see you guys later." Let me
That
tell
that's
people where
like
I'm going. See you
that's
guys
like the
later.
hardest part of having this, like the feeling of being a burden is so huge, and like especially when it's unknown before you actually get diagnosed. The things that
Mhm.
people say, the way that they think about it, the way that they treat you is like, geez, I didn't know you had that in you. Like, damn,
Yeah.
you know?
You have insurance, use it, especially in
Yeah.
California. I'm trying to tell you, use it.
Mhm.
Go to Stanford. Tell them
Okay.
you want to go to Stanford. My mom said it. They will take you from 4 in the morning. She sleeps the whole ride,
That's
and then
actually
she.
funny you bring that up because I met someone in April. It was my roommate in the hospital. She had just been taken off the tube and she could barely speak, but she heard me on the other side of the room because she was right next to me just with a curtain. And she heard me having my seizures and heard them all freaking out and everything. But they were, despite the fact that this hospital here said, no, this is epilepsy, that hospital said, no, this is PNES. And so they were arguing with each other and they were not doing my care properly. And it was like this whole thing. And so the nurses were arguing about what to give me to stop the clusters from continuing because I was having so many. And that lady next to me, she was screaming at them, even though she had just been intubated, so she could barely speak. She was screaming at them, telling them, it's a tonic-clonic seizure. Just give her the damn meds. And they finally did, thankfully to her. But she got transferred out to Stanford because hers were still uncontrolled. So that's crazy you bring that up because I don't know, maybe I'll see her when I go there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna show you like all my tabs that are open or Uber rides, maybe like 12 of them. And yeah, when you call, they send you a link to know where the car is at, and yeah, we figure
And so
that out.
they cover it and everything, like the gas and everything.
Everything.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to take advantage of these insurance things, or they'll just be like, "Oh, we have it. It's on the car. You just didn't use it. Don't
Yeah.
ask, don't tell. Got to
Mm-hmm.
ask." Now you can look at the number there. Got you.
Also, Rachel, my husband can't get FMLA because he's only been at this job for I think 3 or 4 months total. Because we moved here, gosh, I want to say 5 months ago, I think. My memory's off, but we haven't been living here for very long because we were living down south in San Diego before this. So it's very new up here.
But you're also you're in California, right?
Yeah, I am.
So I would still have him talk to his employer because even if he doesn't qualify for FEMLA, there might be something else.
They did tell him, like he spoke to HR, they did tell him that he can take a month off of emergency leave. They won't ask him any questions about why he's using it. Um, but it's completely unpaid. They refuse to pay anything for it. So we are thinking about the possibility of using that for next month. Um, but we would have to get PFL through EDD to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Another thing is with using that insurance, they're going to ask you if you have like any medical devices or whatever. They're going to ask you if you're bringing anybody with you. None of that matters. You'd be like, yeah, I'm bringing this person. I'm bringing 2 people, 3 people. They'll get you a bigger car. Uh, yeah. Need more space? Bags? Anything.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if it's like nearby, I'd have to bring my kids. But if it's going that far out for a hospital visit, then it would just be me. But yeah, that is extremely helpful though to like to know that they accommodate for it sounds like just about everything.
Yeah, they help you. Like I said, since we cannot drive, they help you with all that. And
Yeah.
like I said, that part had me feeling like a burden that I had to ask someone to go out of their way to take me somewhere when they had something to do. This helps with all that.
Hmm.
You don't have to ask someone to go to the pharmacy or leave early or I need you to do this. We're not supposed to be alone doing it, but it feels better when you're doing it without asking someone. So I take advantage of it. Well, I use it when I need it and put it like that.
We have the same thing up here in Portland too, which is
Nice.
it's a nice benefit too. Yeah. Yeah. I've had to use it a couple different times going up to OHSU for services. And it's been definitely a nice benefit to have.
Yeah, they're trying to
Yeah,
cut
that's
down on mine. I used to be able to call same day, but I think they said next month you're gonna have to start calling like 2 days ahead of time. So uh I gotta change up my moves with that. I used to be able to call, be like, I need to go here today, now. But they will take me to a pharmacy same day. But doctor's appointments, they want me to call 2 days ahead of time. So if you need to if you need a ride, put like that.
but yeah, maybe I'll just give them a call ahead of time to a lot of time ahead. Since it's still next month. That way I can just kind of like learn more about it and see what they have available for me up here. So I'll probably try doing that at some point this week then.
Does your grocery store have a pharmacy?
It does, but the only pharmacy in my area that accepts my medications and that has them like in stock is the one that's 40 minutes away.
People are paying for insurance and not using what they're being given or all kind of stuff.
I
Um,
will say though, I think my husband would be probably pretty afraid of me going to the store by myself.
man, I've went and got an Uber one time, and the lady took me, and when she picked me up, I smelled like weed. So she rolled down all the windows for the whole ride. It was like 10-minute ride. I wasn't complaining because I already knew what was going on. I was like, let me hit that, and then I'll see y'all later. But yeah. So I did that, and then she dropped me off. And when I came back outside and I called the people, like, yeah, I'm ready to be picked up. Uh, they're like, all right. They put in for a new Uber. But she was in the parking lot, so they usually call the closest one. She was in the parking lot with all her windows down, all the doors open, and she looks at her phone. and presses accept. And they tell me the driver's a minute away. When she's coming towards me, the ride says canceled, and then she just looks at me and drives by. And then they send me a text, your driver canceled, we'll send you another one. But yeah, she was
Oh
like, I
my
already know he
God.
smelled like weed. I just aired my car out.
I don't
Like
want to
I'm
deal with
trying to
that.
get to working. Yeah, so you have good
Also,
things. You just got to know how to use it. And like I said, they won't tell you. You probably had this insurance for ages, huh?
yeah, we've had it the whole time that he's been working at this job, and they never told us anything about it. I will
They're
say
not.
though that the one nice thing is that I have an elderly lady as my what does she call herself? My care coordinator. She calls me like weekly to check up on me and see how I'm doing, and that part is actually quite sweet because she's super nice. And
She gets
she'll
paid
just
for
chat
that.
with
That's
me
what
for
she's
like an
doing.
hour. I mean, hey, she gets paid for it, but at least she's nice, you know?
Yeah. She's getting paid to call in. Like, hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? I checked on her today. Give her a few hours on her clock or whatever. And yeah.
I don't need her as much anymore. I got a therapist now, so.
Dude, you need to go to the therapist or the dentist or anywhere with a doctor, massage therapy, asthma doctor, anything where they have the need a doctor for something,
Mhm.
dentist, anybody. Massage therapy, I said. So yeah,
I
I've
will
gotten a
definitely give
massage.
that a try.
They don't pay for the massage, but yeah, there you go.
Also, Kate, I just want to say really quick, as far as rural areas, my experience here, it really hasn't been that terrible. Like the hospital here, the doctors here that I've dealt with so far, they're very kind. It depends on where you're gonna go, and you have to like look super heavily into it. I don't have a doctor per se, as my PCP. She's a nurse practitioner who consults with a doctor team. And she is incredibly sweet. She's very understanding. She always listens to me. She gives me like extra long appointments, and I just barely met her back in March. So I'm like brand new to her, but she's been giving me special treatment anyways. So like there are a lot of stigmas of living in a rural county. It can be difficult to deal with, especially with chronic conditions, because not everyone's going to be so understanding. But if you do your research and you make sure that the people you're going to go to, they have good reviews and they're understanding, then you can find good people still.
All right, I do need that encouragement because at this point we got it planned to. I never wanted to rent again after saving up all this money and just feeling like you, running that hamster wheel. But we don't know where we want to go. We just know we want to get the hell out of Florida and, be some place that's likely to have seasons, but nothing too extreme. Not going. That's the only thing keeping me from going to Maryland again. But at this point, yeah, I did need to hear that because we're going to end up renting somewhere around the Tennessee Virginia border and just looking around. We're literally just going to spend the year driving around and whatever place has the best homeschool clubs for the little ones and medical care for me, we'll try to find somewhere to settle down that's less likely to get hit by a tornado.
Yeah, I'm terrified of tornadoes.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't I mean the house in the mountains, I'm again just curious to see how that if the elevation might even make a difference for seizures, who knows? Maybe that's
Well,
why they
yeah,
didn't figure it out
actually,
until we left Jersey.
I have to say, as far as that goes, my seizures did not get as violent as they did up until we moved up here into the mountains.
Oh. And you don't think that was related from the stress of the move?
No, because the stress of the move, that was non-existent because this was supposed to, we were doing this to be rid of stress.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's a very beautiful place. It's where I grew up. Like I'm experienced with this place, but I haven't lived here in so long. And so I wasn't used to the altitude anymore. And I still notice after being here for this many months, if I go up into the mountains with my family to the lakes up north, which is much higher in elevation, 8 to 9,000 feet, I start to feel off and it affects me. And it doesn't go away until we come back down. And so, yeah, I do think the elevation plays a role in that.
So that could be a trigger.
It could be.
What's up, Sailor Mom?
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say that I
Okay,
was
yeah,
at like sea level for 20 years. I mean, I was gonna look up exactly what the elevation of the place in Virginia that I was born was, but I didn't get that far yet. And then like I lived in Florida, which is like sea level too, for a couple years, and we moved out here 20 years in sea level, and now we've moved up higher, and I imagine it's probably higher than I lived in Virginia for my childhood and whatnot. So, and I didn't have any grand mals or whatever you want to call them, tonic-clonic, for about 2 months after we came up here. And then I had one, I think I've had maybe two since we've been here. But yeah, I do remember I used to go back to Salt Lake City, Utah, with a friend every year. And I remember getting violently ill every time. And I couldn't say really how I would get sick. I would end up in bed and like pain, and like I would just, yeah, like I probably shouldn't even flown back because I would end up with sinus infections too and all this other weird stuff. But now that I realize, what I had even then, it hadn't been turned on 100%, but I'm, it was an infant injury. It had to be there. I had episodes as a child, right? So just because nobody paid attention to it doesn't mean it wasn't happening, right? And just because, like, I mean, nocturnals were my big one at first, and that's, yeah. So how do you know unless somebody like is there to wake you up and go, hey?
Yeah, if somebody doesn't point it out to you,
Right.
especially when it sounds like a lot of the cases do start as, focals or partials, and those ones that are really just basically your parents, the ones that are raising you to notice those early symptoms.
Mhm.
So with the elevation, I'm seeing Virginia. I mean, if you were close to the mountains, it could have been up to like 5,700 feet, and
Ooh,
Bay Area, California is sea level, like closer to
yeah,
sea level.
yeah,
So
yeah. So I
that could
don't
make a
think I'm as
difference.
high now, but I'm higher than I
Okay.
was. I'm
Okay.
slightly more north. I'm not
Right.
as high as Virginia, maybe, but
And it's definitely a different climate overall, would you
oh
Right.
yeah,
say?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, Bay Area where I lived was pretty dry. It was pretty
Okay.
deserty, and this is pretty deserty too. Although it definitely had more
You okay,
precipitation.
Pookie?
Yeah, Pookie, you
Yeah,
all right?
yeah. Let me sit up.
Okay. All
I
right, I'll
am
stop
good.
talking. I'm just running my mouth here. I'll be quiet. Bye, Rachel. I didn't mean to say, like, talk through her.
No worries. The only other thing that I wrote down to discuss today was a surprising thing that I saw on some website out of Canada. Was food triggers: tea, coffee, chocolate, sugar, sweets, soft drinks, salt, spices, and animal proteins.
That was
Just
a
that
tough
blanket
one.
term of animal proteins. That's a lot of different food groups.
Yeah, basically,
Cranberry.
if you
Was it
avoid all of that, you're not gonna be eating anything.
avoid grapefruit juice?
Yeah. Well, grapefruit juice, I think they say to avoid because it interacts with the meds, right?
I
It
think they said
Or
does.
something
is it
about
a
overdosing.
okay, okay, yeah. So that comes from the meds, but I think they're really just talking about even if you're unmedicated or for the most part controlled, tea can bring on another one.
I mean, I guess for me personally, I do have like, I guess you would say food sensitivities, but it's not with my seizures. It's with my other chronic conditions. Because like an endo flare-up can be triggered by coffee. For me, it could be triggered by ice cream. I'm lactose intolerant and I cannot handle too much fat and protein all at once. And so I get pretty screwed up. And then the endo flare up could lead to a seizure for me. But it's like a different way.
They also don't tell you no chamomile.
Yeah, I didn't hear
No.
that until I heard it from you guys.
Yeah, no chamomile. It's not good for us.
Wait, why? I've never heard that.
Um, I can't remember. Just look it up.
Okay. Okay.
And that's where I come in. Chamomile, while traditionally used for sedation, should cautiously be used by individuals with epilepsy because some studies suggest that it may have anti-seizure effects in animal models, but it can't replace standard seizure medications. Furthermore, it could lower the effects of your anti-epileptic medications because of like
Wow.
causing the drowsiness and how it's intended to have those cognitive effects. That's kind of the red flag of how it could potentially lower the effectiveness of your meds.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and
it's a good thing that I don't drink that stuff.
I was
For
using
me, it
that
was
because
green
these
tea.
pills that I take cause insomnia. I was using that to help me sleep. Lamictal causes insomnia, and I'm drinking chamomile to make me sleep, and not knowing that I'm sleeping, and then I wake up and have a seizure the next day, and not knowing because I had a drink yesterday. I didn't have alcohol, but I had chamomile.
Mm-hmm.
You should try
And
magnesium.
everybody wants you to drink herbal tea because you can't have coffee and you can't have soda and you can't have, all these other things, right? So they're all like, oh, drink herbal tea. And then I discovered that chamomile is like the number one ingredient in almost every single herbal tea you're going to find. So you have to be careful which ones you buy. And now I'm being told I can't have any tea, like black tea. It's the only thing I
That's
have left,
caffeine.
guys.
Exactly.
I
The
used to be
caffeine.
obsessed with black tea, the sweetened black tea, and like I would drink that every single day because I couldn't handle dark sodas anymore, and I can't drink coffee. So I was drinking that, and then I started to realize that it was starting to make me feel like crap, and I had to stop drinking that, and I was like, well, I guess that's it. I'm stuck with water now.
I drink bubbly water if they buy it for me, like like LaCroix or whatever. Um, but I guess I'll just have to be careful with my black tea. Maybe one cup a day, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Angel,
still
you
have one
said
soda every once in a while.
Angel, you said the black tea thing, but I believe that teas that are named after colors have caffeine.
They do. They do. They have a lot of
Yeah.
caffeine.
So if you get caffeine seizures, I mean seizures from having too much caffeine, colored teas aren't the way to go. And then teas with chamomile aren't the way to go. So drink water.
Yeah, I
Drink
drink
plenty of
mainly
water to
water.
counteract whatever else you're drinking if you're going to have anything that's got anything in it. But caffeine from coffee and caffeine from tea are two different kinds of caffeine, according to my epilepsy doctor. I don't know why, but they I don't know, digest in your body differently, or they come from a different source. Somehow they're chemically slightly different. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. What I imagine chocolate probably falls into the coffee variety because it comes from the cocoa beans and so forth, and
Yeah,
tea
it
comes
would.
from leaves, so it's something like that, but I don't know exactly what it is. But I mean, it doesn't mean I necessarily need to be drinking a lot of it.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I just had to do some research on that caffeine thing. But what I'm seeing here is that it is perceived, I guess, in coffee to just generally have a more intense effect,
Yeah.
and tea usually has a lower caffeine amount.
Hmm.
Just the presence is lower. So maybe that's kind of the message the doctor was going for.
Maybe. I don't really know why he said it was different. I'm not really sure.
Probably just like you said, because of how you metabolize it and how caffeine has more of a hit, I guess is the word in coffee.
Hmm.
Like it's a more intense or immediate effect.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was my 10 subjects for the week. Anybody else have some good stories?
I have a
I'm looking at
question.
one.
Go
Looking at
for it.
one right now.
All right.
It has
Well,
quite a
let's listen to
novel in it.
Sia's question.
So sorry, Pookie.
No,
No, go ahead.
Um,
As
I
long as
just
you need.
got a blood test yesterday, and for context, I was gonna make a post about this, but then I was just like, I'm just gonna ask him tomorrow. But for context, I have never had a normal blood test my entire life because I've been in and out of hospitals my entire life. When I was a child, it was pneumonia. Teenager, it was other things, and then an adult, menstrual issues, and now seizures. So I have never had a normal blood test. And yesterday, I got my results back pretty quick, and I had the first normal blood test that I have ever had, ever. And I don't know what it means. And they're not going to call me. I already talked to them about it. The doctor's not going to call me because it's normal. So I'm like, well, I want to know, why is it normal? I'm been on the Keppra for almost 2 months now, and I'm wondering if, I know it wouldn't be a direct effect, but if not having as often of seizures has actually regulated my body.
Possible. I mean, I certainly could be, I would imagine. Gosh.
Oh
I
my
mean, that's
God.
kind of a big deal.
It
Uh,
is.
and it's 2 months, it could have built up enough to counteract whatever was happening, but I don't
And
know.
I did have because I talked about this on Thursday last week. I did have a cluster last week on Thursday. Or I talked about it on Friday, but it happened on Thursday. And we still don't know exactly what happened. Which is why I think Kate said, if you're still having issues, maybe they're not testing for the right thing, which is true. Maybe they aren't. But it is weird to see everything like regulated out, because I haven't made any other changes to anything except for the Keppra.
I hate Kepper, by the way. I'm the biggest hater of Kepper. I got so many stories. I could go to Kepper right now. But yeah, since you're taking it, I'm gonna let you just not hear all the hateful
Hey,
words.
I gotta say, man, for me at least, it hasn't been bad.
I
But
know,
I
I know
did
some other
notice that,
stories.
like as far as like my TC stopping, that has stopped. Except for last week, that one that came out of nowhere, but we're thinking that has more to do with something going on in my brain because of the thunderclap headache that I had. But as far as like the Keppra keeping things controlled, it feels like it has. Just the focals that come up during my period are still quite rough.
Okay, yeah, this is not for everybody. Sometimes it works for some people, but it
Yeah,
doesn't stop the
Kepler's
fact that
a
I have a lot of
real.
stories about it. So
Yeah,
It,
no, hey
it,
man,
it,
it's
it
all
shouldn't
good.
be. It shouldn't
you're
be
one of the
one
success
that's
stories.
given to like everybody though.
Yeah, they call it the gold standard. That's what they told me at the hospital before they gave it to me. And I was like,
Hmm
Here you go,
okay.
The first
the
one they give to
epilepsy
everybody.
starter kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some people can take it. It's just
That's
that
why
I know
I
people that was, yeah.
and I can't really hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, we
okay.
can't hear you, man.
Um,
Just a little
yeah.
muffled.
She
Trying to
muted. She
hold
probably wasn't
down that
talking to us.
anger from Kepra is so hard.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like fading out here. I think the
Okay, now
stuff
we
is,
can hear you better.
Yeah,
You were
we
just
can
yeah.
hear
saying
you.
that Keppra works for some people and others not, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys ever noticed the ones that it works for without the side effects, it's like perfect for them.
Yeah.
I'm almost
Yeah.
jealous
I
that it
know.
works that well. It's like
So
I
nice.
couldn't use it, but they're right, it's a gold standard because it's actually the diagnostic part. It's like if this doesn't work, we have to try something else, which is usually lamotrigine, and it's part of that diagnostic process, but give me a break, man. I can't do Capra. Okay, I literally tattooed it on my arm. Do not give me Capra because no, I can't do it. But for those that it works for, amen. I appreciate that. But
Yeah, I am grateful that it is helping. Well, I can't really say that I know for sure that it's helping yet because I've only been on it for 2 months and I've still had, I don't know, 5 or 6 seizures and then that cluster as well. So I guess it's not really, I'm not controlled still. So it's not really doing as much as I would like it to. But as far as, not having any of the side effects, I haven't had any issues with side effects from it except for the first week that I started taking it, which was just like some dizziness, some nausea. Um, but other than that, it went away pretty fast. So I'm grateful for that.
yeah, that's a good thing. Wow. But they might just have to add something, and like we're saying, you can when you see an epileptologist, you don't have to see them every 3 months. You can do a lot of that on Zoom, whatever. But though it'll get you some better care. You know,
Yeah, I think that would be important because like my goal, like everyone else's, is to be 100% controlled. I want to have my life back. I don't want to just
yeah,
settle down for, having a seizure once a week. I want to not have any. So I know that that's not, possible for everybody, but if we can try for it at least, that would be nice.
right. The goal is always to minimize whether it's the frequency or the intensity of your seizures.
Hmm.
That's always the goal, but it isn't always possible, and it's not expected to completely eliminate them. That's why epilepsy is considered, um,
Okay.
we cannot get rid of that completely. Some people are lucky, some aren't, but we have to always anticipate that there could be a seizure, but I know what you mean. It's like we want to make it as best as we can, as quickly as
Yeah,
we can. Yeah.
I
One
am
thing in
gonna have
favor, Mom, before you
to
start.
go real
Oh,
quick.
oh, okay.
My son just woke up. He's right with me, so I'll talk
All
to you
right.
guys later, all right?
Have
Have
fun.
a
See you
good
later.
day.
Bye-bye.
Love you, Saya. See you soon.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I have something here. I'm going to start. Or, oh no, you had something. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that apparently the difference between coffee and tea is an amino acid. L-theanine is in tea, and it promotes relaxation, while coffee contains cryogenic acids that contribute to stimulating
Is it me?
effects.
I'm not hearing you guys.
What's that? Did I not say that right? L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes relaxation, is in tea, and coffee contains cryogenic, or I'm probably not going to say this right, cryogenic acids that contribute to stimulating effects. So I guess that's why he said
Okay.
they have different kinds of caffeine. I don't know. he's
Yeah,
a
so
he's
those
a pretty
sound like
smart guy. I don't know.
I would think if he can pronounce those, that's enough, that's enough right there. But yeah, that sounds like two totally different classes of chemicals or substances or whatever.
Mhm.
Right, Pookie, go
That's
ahead. Tell us that story before you forget.
Um, it was a
Shit, too
post.
late. Oh, okay.
It says focal seizures. What is happening? I'm a 20-year-old with relatively good health, just a history of depression, bipolar disorder. Sorry if this isn't the right place to ask, but I'm just very scared. I don't know where to go. Around 2 weeks ago, I had an episode where my wife had to call an ambulance. I felt like I was having brief periods of 2 or 3 seconds where everything froze in time in my vision. Then the room started sliding in one direction, and I could feel myself losing balance and about to fall. I then got very tense, rigid, and shaky, particular in my right arm and left leg. Anything else that happened that time is such a blur until I was about to leave the hospital. But my wife said I was incoherent and the paramedics and my heart rate was very fast. I was under the influence as well as had just started medication when this first time happened. So I was sent home and stopped the new medication. The same thing happened again Saturday while not under any influence or anything abnormal. I got intense deja vu and from the first time, according to my wife, I was able to get myself to the floor. It felt like everything was slowing, shutting down, and I smelled weird metallic taste. The next thing I remember is my arm shooting out in pain a couple minutes later. I had the same shaky as before. I went to the ER because I thought it was broken, but it was a pinched nerve in my neck. However, they had me stay overnight to do multiple CT scans and MRI and EEG. During the EEG, they did a test with flashing lights during which I became very tense and my legs started shaking. I could feel my eyes rolling back in my head, and when I told them to stop, I was slurring my words. They didn't listen. Everything else looked normal except for the abnormality on the MRI, which they didn't think was a concern. After everything I mentioned to the doctors, they think that it was some type of focal aware seizure. They're classifying it as first unprovoked seizure since the first one was under the influence. They also asked if I've had any instances of this happening at a less extent, which I realize, as they asked, has been happening since November or December. I get some tingling, twitching in my right arm, specifically in my hand, very shaky in the legs, and I start to feel like the world is spinning, which has caused me to fall before. I get confused. I feel like I can't do anything when this happens. These last about 30 seconds to a minute, and my memory has got very hazy after. The only thing consistent, minus the symptoms, is that they always happen in the evening or later at night. Please, I'm just really scared. I don't know what's going on, and I need some advice. I feel defeated, and I have nowhere to turn for advice. Can anyone guide me? I'll first say we're not medical professionals, but go see a medical professional. Another one, a different one. Get second and third opinions. That's what I can say. Anyone else?
I mean, we know
Agree.
anything untreated, the fact that they were going after something besides the pinched nerve is scary. Because if that is untreated, then that's going to bring on some numbness, tingling, weakness, something that could be mirroring an aura, and, obviously the long-term complications.
Hmm.
Girl, shut up. My bad. Just cut that part out.
Gotcha.
What was that? What was that take? I
That was my
mean,
stupid labradoodle.
oh, when you said girl shut up, I'm like, no, you are seriously talking about me right now. With this mess in my
No,
neck.
never you, sweet.
No, no, I'm
Never.
serious. Not like that. Not in any negative way, because that's exactly what's going on with me right now.
Oh my,
Because that
that's not me.
fusion, the entire fusion in my neck moved over. So the disc above and below it is letting my vertebrae lean on my spinal cord.
Well, after talking to you, I had to do some research to know what the hell was going on. So that's
Yeah.
why that pinched nerve part jumped out at me.
Yeah, it's like,
Because
what
now
the?
I understand how many complications can result from something like that being untreated and lead to misdiagnosis, which obviously they've, willingly done to you for so long.
Right. And now we're more worried now about the fatal injury that can occur during a seizure right now. Because if that disc slips enough, it will cut off the supply to what's called the phrenic nerve, and my diaphragm will be paralyzed. So I can think and talk for a moment. That's it. You know, that's just, I don't know why they're not taking it seriously, but I'll find out next week. But yeah, that's a scary thing. And when they don't apply all of those pieces of that puzzle that, come together, and we call it the central nervous system. I simply have a short at one of the outlets. And if we don't fix it, it's going to trip the main breaker and burn the house down. So, yeah, that's just how it is. But they don't seem to want to put it together. It's weird.
Well, they definitely picked the wrong one. You're going to teach them. You and your team are going to teach them. You're being more and more prepared every day. So, you know, I can't think of any other way to say it, but Lord willing, God be with you because you're prepared. You're
Oh yeah.
prepared, especially with that team that's going in there and all the evidence you have. Even if you're feeling out of it on that day, something will you are going to get something done. The
Oh,
right
no
thing for
doubt.
you.
No doubt. And I got the universe. Yeah. Got you guys.
Exactly.
It's definitely, and it's not, I'm just so afraid that this is happening to too many people. Like, we've got Saya. It's like, what the hell, man? Thank you, Pookie. Thank you for holding her hand through that and saying, hey, we're going to get you what you need. And love you, Pookie Mom. So, yeah, this is why we're all here.
Yeah, yeah. People got a lot of people don't know about these services that we have, and like I said, that feeling like a burden, this helps that so much. They don't even know you called the Uber, but you ain't got to ask them. But yeah, get around, got to get around, can't be alone. So I make sure I tell the driver, and most of the times we're having stories about it. And then it ends up telling them about the podcast. And yeah, so that's been all right. But yeah,
Do you believe they still think in some parts of the world that epilepsy is contagious?
wow, I never heard that before.
Hell,
Yeah,
in
I
some
mean,
parts of my family, they do.
oh God.
I'm sorry, that's not funny.
Okay,
Wow.
Or
guys, yeah,
demons, right?
we won't go there.
Possessed by
Could be
demons.
genetic, but not contagious.
Now, the demon thing, you've got an Italian Catholic up against an Irish Catholic that divorced a
Ooh.
Baptist pastor who is now in prison for the rest of his life.
No. So
No,
bad.
Hello.
So bad.
no. Yeah. We'll skip that. I'm possessed. It's like, well, if your God is so great, how come you can't fix me?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just
Um,
saying.
Yeah, I'm finding all these on the this page about myths, myths commonly associated with epilepsy and that contagious one definitely jumped out at me. The first couple are really just more
Oh
about
shit.
awareness.
I forgot my windows were open.
People didn't know that seizures, that you can still work when you have seizures, or that if you have seizures, you don't necessarily have epilepsy.
Right?
I don't
I
know if
got
we talked about this because I went to talk with my daughter when she called. But I was reading on a post last night, and I did invite her through DM, but I don't know if she showed up. Um, like there's introverted people, and there's people who bottle it up inside, you know? And it's like, imagine a teen doing that. It's like, how like, I know we went through the therapy thing, but imagine a teen just bottling it all up, you know? Right.
Yeah, any child having to grow up with epilepsy, I couldn't imagine. Like I said, I don't remember. So I don't know if that just means maybe I did drink a little too much. I don't know. Just don't remember those years at all.
Speaking of drinking too much, I was just on something about drinking. That was my next question. It says alcohol. Are there any older teens? Oh, never mind. We're old. I'll read it anyway. Are
That
there
was
any
the
older
post I
teens
saw.
here? Any older teens here who don't drink? I'm 18 and due to start at the university in September. I don't have a big social circle with my best friends, mostly being online through choice. I prefer this, but I'm excited for the social aspect of uni. I'm just worried that I will feel pushed out or be left out if I'm not drinking. It's obviously not great for anyone and also not great on medication and just not with epilepsy, but I also have some family reasons I don't drink on top of this and just want to. Will I have a shit time? I'm genuinely scared. Man, F
You
those
got
friends.
so many more important things to worry about. That you got so much more to look forward to than to ever feel excluded for not getting drunk. Now
Right.
you got less risk of getting roofied. Come on, you're going to college. Think straight. Have that conversation with your parents.
This is the beauty of being the designated driver. You get to have fun and watch all your friends be idiots. And you get to remember everything and tell everybody else about it. And I was always the designated driver. Like from the time I got my license on, I didn't like drinking. So I can tell from experience, you don't have to feel excluded just because you don't drink. It's actually a lot more fun to be sober and watch your friends.
Nowadays,
Don't
you
worry
could
about
probably
it.
be the one taking the pictures.
Exactly. You can take the video. You can do all kind. You, there's lots of fun things to do at a party that don't involve drinking. And certainly do not involve drinking with your medicine. That's a terrible idea. Or with your seizures. Just saying. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Kate read that one. I got another one about alcohol. How many of you had to quit alcohol for weed? Wait, quit alcohol for weed? Genuinely, sometimes I get so sad I can't go out with my friends and drink anymore. But at the very least, I can still smoke. Has anyone else had this? To be fair, it's probably a healthier option. I'm just sad it's only legal for medical use where I am and quite hard to get. But at the very least, it's quite tolerated where I'm at. I just say forget friends that you don't have to drink with everybody. That's kind of peer pressure, right?
Yeah, what
Uh,
happened to you do you? I thought that was like a big thing.
yeah, avoid those
So
friends
this
who,
one is, yeah, basically, this one's saying if someone's having a seizure, you should force something into their mouth. That is a dangerous myth that the
Right.
CDC had to actually, still post this can injure teeth or the jaw. I don't know who started that or where it came from, but apparently it's still something that some people and places believe.
Mhm. Yep.
We do not swallow our tongues.
It
We might bite it, but
physiologically
we do
cannot
not
happen.
swallow it.
Yeah, same thing with restraint. They still have these beliefs in places that it shouldn't last more than 30 seconds or so should just hold on to them real tight and then it'll be over. Yep, and then they
I
correct
got.
all that with what you should do.
Hmm,
What if it's like 45 minutes long?
You
What do you do
know,
then?
Don't
where in
remind
the
me of
world
that.
are they still preaching this? That's a shame.
It's
I
terrible.
got. I got another novel here. It's pretty long, but I'm getting into.
That's your specialty.
It says, sometimes I feel like my partner is forgetting that I have epilepsy and it's starting to get annoying. When we first started dating, they'd always cover my eyes when something flashy came on the screen. They give me a heads up or avoid flashing lights altogether. Now, flashing lights aren't one of my triggers. They make me very uncomfortable, though. I told them about my triggers, and it feels like they only heard it's not one of my main triggers part and completely ignored the however. Side note, no
Say
sleep,
yeah.
little sleep.
No.
No
Oh
sleep,
shit.
little
Sorry.
sleep is one of my main triggers. It makes me more sensitive. The thing we're doing the thing is, we're doing long distance, and on Discord, sessions can get a little longer. But even when I tell him, hey, I got to head to bed, they try to extend session as much as possible. Cute? Sure, but also dangerous. Here's the thing, they love Geometry Dash, so Epilepsy's arch nemesis, and keep showing me levels they enjoy, and I just got to look away the entire time and kind of have to guess my reactions. I don't want to hurt their feelings, and they seem so excited. At the same time, they make seizure jokes throughout some levels, and that's what's pissing me off most. How do we go from being protective while dating to not taking it seriously? Maybe I should talk about it and tell them how I feel. I just felt like ranting before I address it. Or maybe am I overreacting? I don't see overreacting. Making jokes, you reacting the right way and some. Anybody think she's overreacting?
Absolutely not. Lack of respect is
Yeah.
red flag reason to walk away. The sooner the better. So
Right?
yeah,
Yeah,
you can
I
have your
like.
talk, but
Yeah, and if they're not going to recognize your needs, that isn't a relationship at all. That's
exactly.
only one-sided for them, and it's your fuel for abuse. That's it. And I don't care whether you have epilepsy or not. That's unacceptable.
I'll move forward. Got one that says worth it. Hey guys, I really don't want to sound depressed or done with life, but my life is just full of shit since I got it. I was happy and full of life before, and now I just feel like a piece of shit, and I have panic attacks every time I feel weird. I cry so much, I'm just so done. I just wonder if living is worth it. Does any one of you think the same? I used to. Um, yeah, I just got used to it. Got to live. Well, I started having kids. I had people to live for.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is one of the easiest ways to look at it, but I can't believe how many like actual suicidal posts there are.
I know, right?
It's pretty bad sometimes.
Mad,
That's
and they're not reporting it to their doctors.
Right. I'm not
but
sure
Because
that's a
when we
why.
do, what happens when we do?
You get locked up, and that
yeah.
doesn't
Exactly.
help
And
ever.
Yep.
that's
It never ever helps. Sorry.
And you get that on your record and it sticks with you and you're officially in a different category.
yep.
Yep.
If you don't reach out to the right people who are not going to hold it against you for the rest of your life.
I know. And it's
Yeah.
the reason I'm so grateful for this because, look what people are going through. We've been through that. It's like, yeah, I've bottomed out more than once. And I get it. But why is it that when they tell us to call the doctor when you've got these things going on and you're feeling this, let your provider know right away? They tell you to go to the hospital and you end up in psych. It's like, no, that's not how I thought this would work out. Um, yeah, no, I
No,
don't
Like,
know.
I
that's
wasn't like this before.
and that's where it's just so sad that it goes wrong with preteens and juveniles who the parents literally just don't even take the right course of action because they don't know what to expect.
Right. And we have so many people with especially focal epilepsy that have been diagnosed as schizophrenic because those symptoms do overlap. It's undeniable. They tried to do that in my diagnosis, and it's like, whoops, no, you can't, because I've been talking to a psychiatrist for 4 years and she simply doesn't agree. Between her and my therapist, no, this is epilepsy, but so many people, and just the damn side effect. And Andrea, she has the YouTube channel, All Shook Up, my epilepsy journal, or my journal journey with epilepsy, and she
Yeah, I see
talks
that.
about
Yeah,
that suicidal
I saw that.
ideation, right? And it's just part of a side effect that when we have to approach it and we have to deal with it, it seems like we're being judged or punished rather than being cared for the way we should be.
You
You
want to
agree?
hide it.
Yeah, because we're scared. Because the medical model of psychiatry now, they think, oh, everything in medicine can go over to psychiatry. Well, what was that? What happened there? And I don't recognize how they're treating people with epilepsy. It just doesn't fit what they should be doing. And this is one of them. People coming on Reddit, it's like, somebody help me, I'm scared of how I'm feeling.
And
Yo,
don't have the resources to help.
Right. Or the
yeah,
support. I have my mom. She's the best support I have. And my son's mom. So
Well, yeah, but
yeah, I
another
got
thing
that.
that like a point Melissa just made about teens not always telling their parents. So I can't help but feel like maybe I was in the same boat if I had reached out to a more, equipped, trusted adult instead of, you know, running off, then maybe this would have gotten handled a little better sooner. So
yeah,
communication, it seems like is just as important these days.
I think mine's is the same, like you said, just not telling the parents because I would be like out with friends and stuff. And I think there was a few times that my friends have called the ambulance and their parents had picked us all up from the emergency room. And then I never ended up telling my parents because I probably forgot. But yeah, I think I've been through that a lot of times too. That a lot of times there's stories my parents don't even know. The stories that are coming back to me, as you just said, that I was having seizures with friends all the time in my teens and just didn't say anything. I was like, I'm okay. I'm back. We continue to go to the park and
Yeah, what were
whatever
we
the
talking about
case.
10 minutes ago?
Right. Uh,
I probably just called
but
that being stoned.
right.
Yeah,
I
I
got
mean,
something. Go ahead,
there
Angel.
was there was times, and when I was like, this is about 20 years ago, but yeah, there was depressing moments, and like my friends could even tell like how bad it was without me having to tell them, and they would like know how to get to me, and that goes again with having the right support. Like my friend played a song um by Crossfade. It's called Colors, and the key line on it, the colors that you shine are surely not your best. And he was just trying, like he was having his one-on-one with me with that, you know, because I was going through that big depression and stuff, that down moment.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see here some people really do like the dark humor aspect of epilepsy because they actually have a subreddit of epilepsy jokes.
Yeah, I seen that. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's popular, so
There were so
I
many
mean,
jokes that I started thinking some of these people don't have epilepsy. You can't. Some of
exactly.
this
You could
stuff is crazy.
never.
I don't think, yeah, I don't know if I should
That
go
that
there and
goes
look
that
at
crosses
that.
a line. No, that crosses a line of dark humor. There's
I
there's
don't
no there's no humor in this.
I don't like it when my family makes jokes about it. and they're,
Exactly.
here because they don't know what it feels like at all, right?
Right.
They're just on the outside, and I know that they get traumatized, and there's a certain level of hurt, but gosh, does it
Yeah,
feel
I got to get off this page.
terrible?
This is bad.
Gosh, does it feel
Yeah.
terrible when somebody makes a joke and they don't, and it's somebody you care about, you're like, oh my
And you might
God.
still be sore from the last one, or you might still have that headache, or you're constantly just reminding yourself to, breathe and stay even and don't get in like the wrong position where, God forbid, but yeah, there's no humor in this situation,
Yeah, I was going through
especially
it,
for
and
those who don't find it. Yeah.
I was going through that dark humor one, and like I said, some of those people sound like they don't even have epilepsy. There was so many misconceptions in some of those jokes, and I was just like, some people are just here just to be funny, I guess, because there was a whole lot of misconceptions that I was just like, this person, if they had epilepsy, they should know this isn't possible, this isn't gonna happen, and this is not a joke with all the LOLs and LOL, 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 OL, all that stuff.
And to
It's
buy
not funny.
merch, to buy a shirt that has that logo, but instead of Caesars, it says Little Seizures. Why the hell would you ever want to put that out there to, that would offend a lot of people. That's
Mm.
not, there's a difference between not giving a fuck what people think and like actually trying to start shit.
Right.
Oh, Jamie Lynn, you're back?
Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry, I was
Okay.
having a bad moment. I was hoping you guys were still here.
No apologies. But when my little one popped into the first meeting, I had to find out from Pookie that they're not allowed to be on the YouTube edits. So I had to make a note to myself of trying to keep my children off camera during the meetings at least, because then it's just another step in the editing process, I guess.
It's all right. It's a few seconds. I can just put the symbol over him.
Mine never come on camera. Sometimes they go past, but I usually have it muted.
That was my niece, but I will never bring any kids on again. Sorry
No
about that.
worries. No worries. We always like it better in the lives.
Yeah, we got to know him, but the internet, anybody on YouTube can't just
We
get to
don't
know
want we don't want the kids on YouTube. Protect the
Yeah,
babies.
they asked me, is there any kids in the video? And I say no because there hasn't been. So I block them, and then other people tell me you shouldn't put kids. So I don't.
And I'm glad that I'm not gonna say my point because I think I'm in one of those moments with the. Oh, sorry, Angel. I didn't realize it was talking. This was my connection. Yeah, my sister made me think when it first happened. She's like, "Oh, we should get you that shirt, Little Seizures," and I was just like, "Is that? Oh, yeah, that's supposed." I was like, "What the fuck is that supposed to?" And then she like literally found other ones, and I'm like, "Is this supposed?" It's so and now I'm like, okay, maybe you're supposed to be away from certain people that are like that when you're going through things like this. You really are. Even if it's family, things happen for a reason.
I've heard people say that, like, I stopped dealing with this person in my family because I had epilepsy and they were kind of careless type. I've heard that before. There's people I've distanced myself from because I was just like, yeah, they're not going to get better. They're not going to get it. And they're not going to have any sympathy for my situation. So I avoid them at all costs every day, all day.
Right.
Yeah. So
There's certain people that I can't talk on the phone with because it will send me into clusters. So we just don't do that anymore.
Yeah, give them a special ringtone.
right.
Or just block them entirely.
Or use it when you're in the EMU. That's what I did.
That would have worked.
Oh, it did.
I was lucky enough that I never had to actually do anything crazy. I started before my medication even wore off.
Talk about a plan B.
There you go.
Right. I got something else here. It says feeling lost. Hello all. I do not have epilepsy diagnosis, but I recently had an EEG done and it came back abnormal with generalized epileptiform disturbance without definite focal features. That's all in quotes. So that's one thing. Wow. Yeah.
Wait, Pookie, can you read that again? That sounds like a long explanation for bilateral generalized.
Yeah.
So it said, I do not have an epilepsy diagnosis, but I recently had an EEG done and it came back with, in quotes, abnormal with generalized epileptiform disturbance without definite focal features. Another quote.
Yep.
And it says, my neurologist ordered it after I had what we think was a complex migraine. I thought I was having a stroke, vertigo, numbness in half of my body, and facial drooping, and end up at the ER, etc. I don't think she expected it to come back abnormal, and definitely didn't. I definitely didn't either. I did have seizure-like event 10 years ago after passing out, but at that time my EEG was normal, and the doctors told me it was from lack of oxygen from passing out. I also have POTS diagnosis now, POTS. I heard of it, but I don't exactly know what it is, but we'll talk about it after. Anyway, my neurologist I was seeing only really works with migraine, so she told me to see another doctor in the practice after giving me my results. She didn't give me any information on if I should be driving or anything I should be doing in the meantime, except to get a 72-hour EEG. My next appointment is in July, and I've just been spiraling since. I struggle with health anxiety in the first place, and the last month and a half of my health has just hit rock bottom since the event. I'm scared and don't know what to do. I have 3 kids under 6. I so badly want to be healthy again. Not sure if this is okay to post here to get any attention or responses, but can anyone help me? I'm just feeling way too lost. Um,
Well, it sounds like the POTS could be a trigger for the seizures, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome,
Yeah.
where your heart rate increases excessively when standing. So that is enough to cause dizziness, lightheaded, fatigue,
vertigo.
right? Worsen when upright, improve when lying
Overload,
down. So that's
nausea.
something looks like it primarily affects women, starts in early adolescence. Let me see.
Yeah. It's another thing that, and I'm not saying that we all end up having epilepsy, but it's just another picture in that puzzle that it's like, wait a minute, maybe it isn't, postural orthostatic tachycardia, whatever. I don't know, because I had that same misconception because I had a head injury, but it's like, oh no, you're having fainting spells. I even knew when I was 12 years old. It's like, no, I hit my head. Things have never been the same, and we end up arguing, which is why, Jamie, I just want to say to you, I'm glad you're back, because so many of us started out just like you, and we went years before we got a solid diagnosis and treatment that works. In my case, I waited almost 4 decades, and now I'm fighting with doctors right now all over again who want to say, oh no, it's psychogenic. Yeah, you have epilepsy, but all your seizures are psychogenic. I'm not letting them do that anymore because I'm in trouble right now. And it's because of them. So, so it's like, don't feel that you don't belong here, because you do. And I know there's a seizure is a seizure, even if it's even if you're having seizures from, psychogenic, what they're calling, everything is going in this diagnostic garbage bag of psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. And so much is being missed, including diabetes. So, don't feel, yeah, we've been there. Mine started the same way, that POTS. It's like, well, yeah, but they forgot I hit my head so hard that I didn't stand up for a while. You know what I mean? So I I guess I'm being maybe over analytical where I feel that too many people aren't getting the diagnosis that they should get.
We all know you're not being overly anything because the first misdiagnosis makes it so much easier for those shithead doctors who don't actually want to get to the bottom of it to just say, this is what it is, let's up your dose, go home. So you're not being overly analytical at all because now I understand how many different causes there are. And for one to, maybe I was better off forgetting everything and just saying, I don't know. I don't ever remember hitting my head, but I don't remember anything.
Right.
Thank
Right.
you,
So
Kate.
that could be maybe a hopefully more common tactic. Obviously not for everybody losing the memory, but what you tell your doctor, because we
Right. And
all
if
know
you
the
don't
truth does
know,
not always help.
yeah.
You
And
have
it's
another seizure, let's up your dose.
right. And even the thing that really blows my mind is some of the stuff that I've already heard. Try some Benadryl, or epileptologists are not well versed in sleep medicine. Yo, just hit another red flag, man. But this happens to all of us. It's just happening too much, and I'm I'm getting more scared. I mean, I don't want any more Nasalon. That's for damn sure. 2 shots in 4 days? Fuck no. I'm not doing it again. But I don't want to keep taking clobazam. And I'm still arguing with this. I'm gonna just vent it out. This cunt that is calling herself a doctorate of nurse practitioner. Hell fucking no. I will get her license and burn it. I'm so pissed. But this kind of negligence, man.
Honestly, I feel like you right now.
Well, what they did to me, Jamie, was I had an established diagnosis for like 13 years. And I moved around a little bit. I originally from Buffalo, New York, and I ended up in Southern Maryland with the pretense that my sister felt I would be safer because she had to call an ambulance from Southern Maryland when I was living in Buffalo, New York, because I was having seizures while we were on the phone. And, so it's like, okay, I won't be alone. I won't be a burden on my kids. That did not work out. So during my month of being homeless in Baltimore, I ended up at Johns Hopkins. And holy mother of, yeah. So then I moved to Rochester, New York. I have an established diagnosis, just talked to Johns Hopkins about getting intracranial electrodes because I was diagnosed in 2007 and confirmed with several other, EEGs. I get to Rochester. Oh no, there's hope. You don't have epilepsy. You have a condition known as psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. You do not need this medication. And all I did, I looked a doctor in the face and I went, I fucking dare you. I double dog fucking dare you. So what did they do? They refused to refill my medication. When I miss 2 doses of Vinpat, I go directly into status epilepticus, which is the seizure they can't stop that causes your brain to explode. Okay, let's do it. No, you've never had that happen. Here's my records. And I'm still fighting with these people, but this time, it's like, no, I'm not fighting alone. I'm taking in somebody who literally decides whether or not you can call yourself an epilepsy center at all. So we're in the fight together. We understand. And sometimes we got to just go boots on, gloves off, and they're going to feel it. They have to, because this is my brain. This is my life, my kids, and this has affected everyone around me. But, too many times we're just getting these misdiagnoses, but you can't do what they did and literally revoke a diagnosis of epilepsy. That's like revoking a diagnosis of type 1 diabetes. It's irrevocable. So if you ever, and I didn't know I was diagnosed in 1968. So, okay, but now why am I trying to prove to them, even with their own EEG here in Rochester, that the psychogenic seizures are not my priority? You know, and it's like, well, okay, now the epileptic seizures are going to be, because I can't stop those now. And I start to have focal clusters that will go farther and farther into that spectrum of focal epilepsy, where I'll go myoclonic. If I don't come out, I'll go tonic-clonic and just stay there. I'll go right into, it's called non-convulsive status epilepticus, where it just looks like I'm in a coma, but my brain is literally black dot. The entire graph is like somebody took a Sharpie and colored it. They can't even distinguish one brainwave from another. But these people here are trying to tell me I've never experienced that. Yo, you're gonna be sorry I survived the last time. So, but this is what we go through, and I don't want it happening.
That's insane. I'm so sorry you've been through that.
Well, it's there for me. It's finally something that I can use, and I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I just want you to know that we get it, man. Some of us been through this shit. And honestly, I think I may have talked to you on Reddit that, you know, I really don't want you to have epilepsy. I hope you're disappointed if that's the diagnosis you were looking for. I want you to be disappointed, because it's easier to treat psychogenic, non-epileptic conditions, you know, especially when it is a mental disorder. And that's not in any negative way. You could have had a traumatic event, and the memory of that traumatic event could cause you to have an unusual reaction. Like all of a sudden you lose your ability to talk. Well, that could look like a focal seizure, but it could be a psychogenic event. You know, what they used to call like just kind of it's associated with PTSD. So, you know, having all of it, having both, it's like, okay, I can see having to sort it all out. That's up to you. You know, knowing I have epilepsy and having doctors trying to tell me that's not a priority, I'm not letting them do that, but I did have to take it on myself to take care of my mental health in a way that I really didn't know I had available till I saw a trauma therapist. So that's a little bit of advice. And I'm laying down, that's why I don't have my camera on, because I am like clabasmed today. Okay.
No, I really appreciate that. I had a really deep conversation with my mom, and it was definitely about what you were saying, not only the PTSD, but just about getting my psychiatric help and seeing, you know, what my original neurologist will say tomorrow. But honestly, you are probably the only reason, and truly, the fact that Phi Compa is like, I'm trying so hard to control my language right now. The fact that they can still
Don't
prescribe
bother. Let it
it
out.
Let it out, Jamie. Let it out.
It's not PG-13.
You're
This
in a safe
is the
place.
seriously,
safe place. Yes.
when they say that this is the devil's drug, it is literally, honestly, Anne, you talking is the only reason why I have not broken my fucking phone right now. My mom, I got off the
Oh my
meeting
God.
earlier, and I walked outside and I was skipping around playing with the kids, doing this and that, and then all of a sudden, like that, I was so annoyed. I was literally, I heard smack yourself in the face, and I did. And then literally I heard you should kill yourself. Literally the darkest thoughts. And my mom's like, Jamie, come inside. She's like, what is going on with you? Today's been the best day. We've gone from this to that. What's going on? And I told her, I'm like, Mom, I'm just having a moment. She's like, okay, what do you need? I'm like, and my, like I said, I'm out in the country at my uncle's house, and he has a cottage, and then he built a little house over, like right over there. And I'm like, I just want to go in the cottage and, write, journal a little bit. I didn't think I'd join this, but that's what I heard. I'm like, just see if they're still on there. And literally getting back on here and talking to you guys is truly the only reason I have not lost my fucking mind. And truly, like, like you said, and I'm not, and I don't know if I have both, like the PNES and the whatever, but it's truly so hard when you don't have people around you, like physically, that understand it. Like, being on here is already comforting, just letting it out. Like you guys said, letting it out. It's easy, but you can tell, like, literally I'm like walking around, I'm like, I guess I'm just having a moment, and everyone's like,
Back here.
are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not okay. And and I know that it's a lot there. I probably have both. I don't know. I have a lot of trauma, but it's just it's insane. And honestly, I'm just gonna stop talking because I'm getting really, really hot. But
Yeah. But get that out. I'm glad you got that out, Jamie. I I'm gonna cry. I can't do it because yeah, I just can't start that. But yeah, I'm so glad Pookie started this because we need it. And I do want to ask you something. I have a hard time doing chat and video at the same time because yeah. But you said something about FICOMPA. Are you taking FICOMPA?
unfortunately, yes. But they started me on it. I called my neurologist, and they started arguing with me about getting me down to decreasing. They put me up to 6 milligrams. I called them, told them I was gonna fucking kill myself, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, let's put you back down to 4 milligram. Okay, well, now I'm on 4 milligrams, and I still want to kill. And so that's why I'm now going back to my original neurologist, because this isn't me. I'm not going to do that. That's why I'm on here
Yeah.
with you guys. And that's why I'm with my.
It's a hard, okay, slow down, honey. I get it. I did this.
Just
It's
breathe. That's what they're trained
just
to
breathe.
do. They're
Yeah.
trained to keep you going up and up until you
That
reach the
drug is
max
brutal.
dose.
I can't take
Absolutely.
FICOMPA. FICOMPA, I just want you to know you've got a grip because you know, number one, this is not you. You just said that. You know that. That's what's gonna hold,
Okay.
that's gonna keep you here.
Mhm.
This drug, fucking some of us can't take them. I was exactly like this when they tried to put me on FICOMPA along with Vimpat. I thought I was gonna kill my daughter and her dog. All right, that's not me. Okay. I think y'all know that's not me.
Right, and I've already lost my siblings.
What do you mean by lost them? If they won't, they
I
may not talk to you right now, honey, but this is something you can fix.
yeah.
You didn't lose anything. You you
Yeah.
just lost control for a minute, and you got some reason to have that happening.
Yeah.
It's the medication. And I'm not
That's
saying that you don't have psychiatric or mental health issues, because that kind of comes along with the epilepsy. But don't think that you lost family members because of this. That's their choice. And I get it. I mourn the loss of my sister. She decided that she couldn't handle the idea that she was wrong. She thought I had a psychiatric issue. She found out one day that she was 100% wrong when I actually had a complex that went into a tonic-clonic. I went into status in the ambulance. I came back, and a week later, she decided, nope, I want her gone. And she filed an order of protection. And I was homeless.
I'm so sorry.
So I'm like, okay, but wait. Do I look like somebody that went through that 5 years ago?
No.
That's therapy. That's knowing that, oh, wait, I didn't do that. She did.
Yeah.
And, everybody believed her because, well, that's called manipulation. You don't want to hear my side of the story now. All right. It's those that didn't believe me before are regretting it now because they have to face the truth eventually, just like we had to. It's like, okay, I don't like this idea that I actually have epilepsy, but I guess I can't pretend otherwise. But somebody else can deny and say, oh, that's not true. And then they kind of put that back on you. They put their feelings on you when they say, oh, you're fine. You're just making it up. This is nothing, and when doctors aren't seeing what they should be seeing, or we don't know what to ask them, then those family members and friends are even, it's like they're given fuel for that fire that goes against you. And that's how it feels for a while. And it's not you. It isn't you, it's them. And however they have to deal with their unresolved feelings about that, I can't be their therapist. I needed my own, but I can't be their therapist. So I know it hurts, but trust me, in the long run, they're going to feel it. And it isn't about revenge, but they're going to have to confront it, whatever your diagnosis is. And if this is how they're going to treat a disabled family member, let them know that that's how they're treating a family member with disabilities. And that stopped some of them in my family. It's like, wait, you're talking about how, you're all inclusive, you're supportive, you're this, but yet you're treating a family member with a disability as if they are trash. Oh, we would never do that. Hey, yo, can I remind you here? Sorry, I have to do it, but and the other thing is, and that kind of comes into, and I'm talking too much, but my therapist had me start with the 12-step program, because that's part of that 12-step program is making, coming to terms with the people that hurt you and the people you may have hurt. And yeah, my dad was an alcoholic. I never was. But the 12 steps, it's a good place to start. A daily practice of writing down your feelings, writing down, it's like, I resent that this person feels this way, and just write it down, whatever it is, for 15 minutes, just sit there writing it out. You can put it in a diary, you can crumble it up, put it through a paper shredder, whatever you want to do it. And those feelings are starting to go down on paper and they're coming out. It's like letting the pressure out of an abscess. And you can start getting a little more focused on you, because you're not so focused on them because of what they're doing to you. Right now, it's all about you. And don't let anyone make you feel guilty about that, because yeah, it is all about you. You're not playing the victim card. You are the card.
Okay. Thank you.
What I was gonna say is, for me, it's like very helpful doing this, because like a few days ago, Friday we did this. I was good. Saturday I felt good. Sunday, and then somebody said something I don't even want to say again, and I was like, okay, let me get to Tuesday. It's easier to get stuff out with people who understand it, and I'm not just, like I said, you can just say whatever you want to say. Take as long as you need. Get it out, because I know how it is. You need to get it out, and I hate explaining stuff to people. So with you guys, I don't have to explain it. I can just talk about it and you guys understand. Because with epilepsy, I absolutely hate explaining myself because it's just the obvious with you guys. I don't have to sit there and explain and getting mad because of the look on your face, or you think I'm lying because I forgot something. Yeah,
Yeah.
take as long as you need. I
Yeah,
know.
Well,
we got to support each
and
other. Yeah.
and I really appreciate you guys. I mean, I don't know how many times I've repeated Ficomba and how it's made me feel, and I hope that on Friday I can tell you my neurologist is taking me off of it, not just flipping me off of it. But um, yeah, Tuesday, what triggered me, what made it happen was that my my older sister, who is very much different than me, um, told my dad, which, mind you, my son has not missed school. He was missing. He was going to miss one day of school, so we could go. I, I can't even remember what we were doing. We were going. I think we were coming down here. He was literally missing one day of school. Um. Um. And she had a conversation with my father that I was having my son miss so much school that he was going to be taken away from me. I honestly, I have no idea as a sibling what motivates you to manipulate and hurt someone so much. I'm speechless at that point. Obviously, when I was there, seeing her face, I saw her face, and she was looking at me, and she's like, "What's your problem?" And I lost it, and I've never lost it like that before. But it's just like whoever said earlier, people that manipulate people, I don't understand. And it's people that clearly, I don't know if it's because people that have epilepsy are getting more attention from people, or that they don't have control of them, or whatever it is. I don't know, but it's okay if you hate that I have more attention from our parents because I'm about to fucking die all of a sudden, maybe.
Yeah.
You won't be in my life anymore. I'll take a step back, and that will be on you. Because to manipulate my father to think my son is going to be taken away from me, that's just so dark.
That is
Like,
dark. Yeah.
and that's all I have to say, because I truly, I took a step back, and like I've said earlier, I realized there are, I've always thought the only people you're supposed to have this close are your family and your siblings. No, that's not how that is. And
Yeah.
especially when you have something like epilepsy, people that you're supposed to have around you will be given to you. And honestly, God bless every single one of you, because truly you have all already changed me.
I'm so glad, Jamie. I'm so glad you're here.
It's
I
okay,
really am. We
sweetheart.
see this every meeting,
Yeah.
and I was struggling because the empathy was getting to me. But I'm so glad you're here.
We
And
are.
this is
It's
why we're a
okay.
safe place. Pookie, we love you so much for starting this and putting us to work, and just letting you know. I had Jamie, I just have to share this. I had my therapist, she is a trauma therapist, and she works with a lot of people like us, not so much epilepsy, but fibromyalgia, very similar situations that we have in social relationships and our relationships with our doctors. And it can be a struggle. And she said to me one day, she said, "You know what? I truly think that epilepsy is the narcissist filter. You literally find them. You can find them because guess what? They are the ones that do those things, Jamie. They don't like the fact that, you know, you're getting the attention. That's what happened to me. And they will make up lies to make themselves look like the victim. but it doesn't work. It'll come out in the end, you know, just like any other time. Jealousy never turns out the way you expected. So I feel sorry for her. I'm sorry that's happening to you. I get it. I love my sister dearly, but I had to grieve the end of that relationship on a federal level.
Thank you so much for saying all of that. I did see Jeff raise your hand. I don't know if you had something to say.
Go ahead, Jeff.
This is one of the rare opportunities when I'm going to say something. Without all the emotion, I had the same reaction the first time I came. And I guess I'm the newest regular, but this place has saved me. And much like it's going to save you. And I just wish you all luck in the world. That's it. Now I won't speak for another month.